I'm muted. Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. That's your mic. All right. How are you doing over there?
I can hear you.
All right. We good? We good? We're good. All right. Yes. Loud. No, I have you always muted. So, welcome back to the show, everybody. Attitude for Gratitude live show. We're on TikTok. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're down here at Will Work for Recovery, 4026 Washington Avenue North, just like every week. It is an interactive show. So interact. Tonight's the free for all. We're going to have about 20 minutes to a half hour of people coming in and out, flying in and out. And then we've got Eddie Z, who's going to be sharing his experience, strength, and hope tonight with you guys. As always, it's an interactive show. So do interact. You can put questions up, whatever you'd like. Come on in. But other than that, no, you're good. You're good. No, I thought someone was knocking. You're good. We do this thing together. Remember, if you're out there struggling tonight, please reach out. You got numbers going across the bottom of the screen. You can call Minnesota Intergroup or just download any of those meeting chair apps or whatever you can find for some recovery stuff. You're going to hear us talk about a lot of places. Like right now, we're at Will Work for Recovery. You hear us bring up New Hope, Allano, Fridley, Allano, Blaine, Allano, 2218. We do talk about some spiritual stuff like the Eagle Brook facilities and Serenity Village. But down here, Will Work for Recovery is the world's largest RCO, which is a recovery community organization. Come on down here. We've got multiple different peer recovery specialists, tons of different resources. This is a place to come get involved, to come get started. It is a spot to come find your home group. Paul and Carolyn came on the show a couple weeks back, and he even explained it that this isn't like home group material place. And Carolyn doesn't like saying it's a hangout either. It's a place like tonight. I think there's about 95 people in the big meeting, and it's an open meeting. You get a ticket on Friday nights, and they call your ticket. You stand up and say, "This is what's been keeping me sober. This is what's been keeping me clean." It's not an Allano club. It's just a place to come get connected, come get involved. As you walked in, I don't know if either of you guys saw it, but we have Gene. I think it's Jeans Connected. Yeah, and they're handing out free jeans, brand new jeans. Come on down, you can get a free pair of jeans on Friday night. They're just really involved with giving back and the recovery community. So again, if the main thing, like you guys always hear me share about, is if you're out there struggling tonight, please reach out. You're going to hear us talk about some recovery. We don't gatekeep any of this stuff. We give it away. Someone gave it to me, so now I'm going to give it to you, or share about how someone gave it to me. Other than that, we're going to get this thing going. We got Mike back on the show tonight.
Yo.
Remember the deal. Nice and close.
Yeah.
Mike, tell me, how's recovery been going for you?
It's been going great, man. I'm officially a Boilermaker apprentice.
Hey.
Yeah. I just finished that
I
this
got sound
week.
effects.
Just finished that this week. I'm with my girls all the time and keeping busy.
Being that dad, huh?
Yeah, I gotta get things together. Time is coming to get them back. So
we quoted once you came on here and you were talking about getting recovery by the gram.
Getting recovered by the gram.
And I think we had a whole show after that about how we could correlate. We didn't know much about recovery at the time, so we could correlate it with our drug use.
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, oh, so it's just kind of like getting recovery by the gram. But either way, no, go ahead.
There ain't no gram better than the program.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
And let me introduce, young man. Who are you?
Eddie Z.
Welcome to the show, Eddie
Golden
Z.
Valley, Minnesota.
Oh, you're a GV patron too.
Yes, sir.
Oh, nice. And I'm gonna tell you, get as close as you can go to that mic. Where I've got new arms coming, but see, it's about to. It just. I'm sorry, bud. I might even have you. Whatever. So, Mike.
Yeah.
You're a dad of two. You've been showing up. You always come with your kids. When we were at the other center, you were on the show quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now you're working. Things are getting better.
Yep. I just got the apprenticeship. It was something that I tried to sign into a while ago, and I was just hoping and praying, and I almost missed the invite. I opened it like 10 days before the time was up. And I just gave up on it. And next thing you know, boop, there it was. and it's like really hard to get into the local 647 a Boilermakers apprenticeship.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you, buddy.
yeah, man.
Because I know that the whole working side of things was a struggle for me.
Oh man, it was crazy. Like I've got denied a couple jobs because of my history.
Yeah. Oh, so you've got a criminal history?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, now let me just refresh the audience's memory. Is like you came into these rooms because of a lifestyle that really didn't revolve as much around doing drugs and alcohol as much as them being part of your life.
Yeah, it was at first it was like a hustle. It was all about the money. You know, I smoked a little weed here and there and stuff like that. But then as I wanted to get away from it, things got more stressful. I started using it more than selling it. So, and then I started going to jail.
Imagine that.
Right. I started going to jail, you know, once I stopped caring about things. And then CPS came in. And then I had to take things serious. Going to jail 4 different states, getting extradited everywhere. And now my probation officer's thinking about letting me off early, you know, so
They drop you to admin yet, or are you on administrative?
I don't even know, dude. She barely talks to me.
That's a good thing. That's a good
She
thing.
barely talks to me. And now my career now, which I've never had a career. This is the weirdest thing to say, but they revolve, like everything evolves around people being sober. You can't be on the job welding, doing any of that high on weed, even if you get it prescribed or anything. So this is like the best move that's ever happened in my life.
Hell yeah, that's what's up. So as always, like you will come back on for a full show, correct?
Of course.
That's all I needed to
That's
confirm.
that's if the hours let me.
We'll figure that out. Name of the show is Attitude for Gratitude. Tell me what your gratitude looks like.
I'm grateful for the journey that's took me here and took me down the road of actually getting a career. And this is the first and only time I've had it. And I'm going to hold on to it for it's Boilermakers lifestyle. So is sobriety. And I'm holding on to both.
All right, buddy.
Congratulations. That's
Pick-
awesome.
Thank you.
We're doing something a little different than normal. Pick a number 1 through 140.
140.
Yeah, pick a number 1 through 140.
120.
120. What's your favorite fast food joint?
If I had to pick right off of hands a quick joint, Matt's.
Matt's. You mean
Juicy
Ju-
Lucy.
That's not fast food, but okay. Okay. All right, so here now I'm tasking you got to go out there and grab 2 people and tell them that they have to pull the show up on their phone and marry it to this.
All right.
All right. You got-
the show up on the phone.
Pull this show up on their phone through Facebook, and that's how they're going to be able to listen to it. But get 2 guests to come in here. Eddie, when you walked in that room, did you see how busy it was in there? Like just that
Packed.
it was packed.
Packed.
Come on in, sit on down. I'm gonna get your take on it.
How,
You'll see.
how about that though? To
Right?
get that apprenticeship and
Yeah.
actually be passionate about something that he's going to get to do something that he really wants to do.
That's miracle stuff.
It's
That's
awesome.
miracle stuff. And his story is pretty deep too, or that is miracle stuff. Come on in, sit all the way down, throw your headphones on. All right. Young man, what's your name? Get close on that mic.
Yes, sir. Hi, my name is Alex Yamoya.
Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Who are you?
I am Caleb.
Caleb, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How many times you been to Woodwork for Recovery?
This is my first time here.
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts when you walked in?
To be honest, I walk in and it's like a scene from a TV show or the movies, a nice studio almost. Just, artifacts everywhere, smiles, people are friendly. So it left quite a good impression on me. Very relaxed environment. Yeah.
And there was like almost 100 people in there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was packed and
Right.
very natural environment.
Did you get a chance to share?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was, surprisingly very comfortable.
It was.
Yeah. I felt right at home. Since starting the recovery journey, whenever I go to a meeting or anything, I know I'm around people who get me, people who've been where I've been. And I just get to share where I've been and what's working for me or what's not working for me.
Oh, heck yeah. Will you come back to this place?
Oh, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, I got some more questions for you after. I think your bud's taking a little photo of you. How many times have you been to a work?
Well, I've just been to. We came on a Saturday. For
Okay.
the speaker meeting.
The walk and talk at 7:00.
Yeah, walk and
Nice.
talk at 7:00. Yep, and it was very chill. It was, it wasn't like tonight.
So, what was your take? I get, and I like asking everyone this for when they first come in here. What was your thoughts when you first walked in yourself? What did you think when you walked in?
it was like it reminded me of my cabin because I love like just unique things and like he's like a picker like me or
Paul, yeah,
Paul,
yep.
yeah, for
You
sure.
you spent some time talking to him when
I
you first
did.
got here. I saw that.
Yep. I've been friends and I work with alongside Jeff
Okay.
for a long time. So I've heard about this meeting a lot,
Nice.
but I have not. I never got the chance to come and never got the chance to actually meet Paul. So
Awesome.
so he's a great guy and like Alexon was saying. I mean, just very comfortable atmosphere and just a total who's who variety of people.
I heard you guys really getting into some deep conversation out there too. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, what are you doing for your recovery today? Like, what does your recovery look like?
My recovery is beautiful. It's I was with Alexon and our other friend Mike, who's here with us for the last 6 months. We all went in voluntarily into treatment, not really expecting what was ahead.
Mm-hmm.
We just knew that life sucked,
Right.
and we were done trying to figure it out ourselves because we were terrible at it,
Imagine that.
right?
So, there we go. We're doing all sorts of new stuff here today, and let's see if we can get that. There we go. I got the main speaker, the main guest. He's gonna do some filming tonight for us, and this is like the Free For All Friday. So the one question I'm gonna ask you guys before I even move on with any final questions is: would you guys be willing to come back on for a full show?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
you got it.
All right. That means you guys got to come back to the center,
Yeah.
and then we'll link up. Or you go on their Facebook page
Yeah.
and find this show, and my number's going across the bottom. Reach out to me.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'd love to get you guys scheduled for a show. That's kind of my goal for having this free for all show where everyone hops on, is we get just a snippet of you guys,
Yeah.
and then I get you guys scheduled, and you come back and you're going to do like Eddie's going to do tonight and share your story.
Yeah.
That way we can get into some depth. So the name of the show is Attitude for Gratitude.
Attitude
Love
of
it.
gratitude.
Love
I
it.
want to hear about your gratitude today.
Oh my goodness, my gratitude. Where do I start? I'm grateful to be alive, first and foremost.
Mhm.
I'm grateful to be sober and clean on a Friday night. You know, what's the craziest thing is that just 6 months ago, I was craving connection. And the excuse that I would use was just down the street, a few blocks down, I'd go to the bars and drink and desperately try to meet people. But
Right.
then I would embarrass myself. I would come home more sad than when I left,
Right?
you know? And I just couldn't figure out what it is. But, 6 months later on a Friday night, I'm hanging out with a great friend, Caleb, that I met in treatment. Have a lot in common, yeah, like that.
And that type of stuff.
Yeah, and
Beautiful.
I'm sitting here with people who are in recovery, people who are breaking the cycles that held them down for such a long time. It's magical to see people from a different walk of life come together because they just want to do the right thing. So I'm grateful to be a part of a community like that. I'm grateful to have friends that just want to be friends with me, not because I have something to give them,
Mhm.
but just because I honestly don't know why. But
Mhm.
thank you guys.
No, that's miracle
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
buddy. And listen,
absolutely.
that's what's in these rooms. That's what's
Yeah.
here waiting for you. And we get connect. I gotta get you back on the show. I
Yeah.
gotta get you back on because I already
Absolutely.
like what you're sharing.
Yeah.
Pick a number 1 through 114.
98.
98. If you could rename yourself, what would your name be?
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh, that's a great question. I've thought about this before.
Mhm.
So I'm a Christian, and in the Bible, a name means a lot. A name usually describes a character.
Mhm.
So you can see Abram went to Abraham and a bunch of other people that I can't remember on the spot. So I thought about what would my name be. So I think it would be a Hebrew name
Yep.
that means something along the lines of God changes lives.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Like
All
it.
right.
Caleb.
No, I was Caleb. Name of the show is Attitude for Gratitude. What's your gratitude look like?
My gratitude is every day, man. I mean, anytime I'm down or I'm struggling or anything like that, you know, all I got to do is close my eyes and think of all the awesome things that I'm grateful for. I mean, you know, it's God, it's family, it's my peers, it's all these new people that I'm meeting. Just by putting myself out there and
Yeah.
going to all these different meetings, and like this one, this meeting's wild, man. We're
Yeah.
doing we're in a podcast after the meeting.
That's right. Pick a number 1 through 114.
57.
57. All right. What is your favorite item you bought this year?
My favorite item that I bought this year. Oh man. Well, I just got out of treatment, so I haven't bought too much. Let me think. I haven't bought.
If you could be any superhero, what would your not if you could have a superpower, what would your superpower be?
Oh, my superpower would be just making people smile wherever I go.
Making people smile.
that's right.
All right.
That's
right.
unfair because he already has that one. So
All right. You guys are tasked with going out there and finding 2 more people to fill your seats.
You
And
got it.
thank you for coming on and sharing a little bit. I'm looking forward to you guys coming back on.
Thank you for having us
Absolutely.
on.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
There we go. Eddie, my man, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You guys have a good night. See ya.
So, Eddie, this isn't, like I said, if you can tell, this isn't typically this is a last Friday thing. And the last Fridays of the last few months, I had one person come in, like people are in there sitting for an hour and a half. and
Yeah.
They're not in the mood to come sit down in here after. And the ideal was originally, because I started the show 3 years ago out of 2218. And for the first 2 years, it was just, I scheduled guests. Perfect. Is she coming in too? There we go. And I'll continue with that and kind of fill you in on how this all came about. And then we're going to get into your story. Put your headphones on and get close to that microphone, kids. All right. So we got some VIPs in the house here. Get as close to that mic as you can and tell me who you are.
I'm Brian.
Oh, I have you muted. So I'm still working on this. I got an engineer in the works. Brian,
Brian.
welcome to the show. Who are you?
I'm Ashley.
Ashley, welcome to the show. Have you been to Will Work for Recovery quite a few times?
Yep.
What would you tell someone who's never been here what it's like?
I don't know. It's really like comfortable to share. And like, I mean, you're not awkwardly sitting in those uncomfortable chairs.
Yep.
You got all these couches and it just, everybody's like so caring and they're just here to help. And like, it's just so easy to talk.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not just a bunch of tan walls and real dull lighting.
Right. And people aren't just like, oh, the literature this, the literature that. They're like actually speaking from their experience.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And Paul shares about like this is a good spot to come get connected and a jumping off point to get started. Brian,
Yeah,
how would you explain this place to people?
it's cool.
Come on. No one word answers on a podcast. Hey,
Oh.
get into detail, brother.
Yeah, I like it because you don't have to sit there and where they read the same stuff over and over every time you go there. It's gives you more. It's to me, it always seems like that it goes by so quick that it should be 2 hours instead of 1 hour because it seems like you get ripped off because
What are you doing for your recovery?
me, I go to meetings every day, help people go to meetings. I show up at meetings, even, you know, I always say something, even if it's something crazy, even if I got to make something up. You know?
I know you do kind of, I don't know if we want to call it outreach. Hey, everyone checking in online. If you guys have questions for our guests that hop in, go ahead. You can message on there or you got my number scrolling across the bottom. If you want to remain anonymous, you can keep texting me the questions. So I know you do stuff where you're part of the reason this studio got built. you donated a whole bunch of wood. Like,
Yep.
explain the type of stuff you do on those along those lines for the giving out stuff and outreach and what you do.
Well, I give people lumber and I got a hookup on vapes, so I give everybody a bunch of vapes.
Not the healthiest, but okay. Yeah.
Well, when people in recovery ain't got money, I flip
Right.
them vapes and then it helps, you know. I ain't healthiest, but you know, it helps when you ain't jonesing for a
Right.
cigarette or a vape, you know.
I didn't mean to crap on that too when I said that, because you're right. He's brought boxes of vapes in, and we're not promoting that. I'm going to tell you right now, I turned down the main first sponsor I ever had was Jewel Pods. They offered to sponsor the show, and I said no because other reasons. So Brian, I'll go back to other stuff. Like, he came to the club and he donated probably $5,000 worth of lumber. All the lumber you see, like all the 2x4s that I used to build this studio, all came from this man sitting here. So I'm glad you came in, because I personally, on air, I wanted to thank you for that. I really appreciated it, and you saved the club tons of money.
I'm glad I could help out, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't go unseen. Paul knows it too, and there's some other stuff that you've donated that we just really appreciate here at the club. What are you doing for your recovery today?
Well, I'm graduating treatment in 2 weeks.
Hey, I'm really utilizing my sound effects lately. All right.
I just got my 6 months.
No, come on.
Yeah. It's the longest I've ever been sober. So
That's amazing.
yeah, it's nice.
That is.
Yeah. But I'm telling my story at a meeting tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to share where that is? Or
It's
up to you.
Yeah, it's at 2218 at 8 p.m.
Nice.
It's their medallion meeting.
Yep,
so,
their Saturday Night Medallion
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
Is that for Phoenix? Is that through Phoenix NA, or is that the AA? Is that an AA?
It's an. Well, I think it's an AA.
Okay,
'cause
you
it's
know what?
medallions, but
I'm still figuring out how, with traditions,
right.
if I'm telling my own story, I can share about whatever fellowship it is, but I can't promote it. I'm still 3 years in. I still haven't got it figured out. So
A lot of the NA people are presenting, so I mean,
yeah, I don't.
it doesn't really.
But you know what? Like, coming down here and getting involved, which I know, Brian, I've seen you now for quite a while here. You know, Paul, you have a little side story. I don't know if we got a ton of people waiting, but there's a story of you almost killing him, I believe, once.
Oh.
I
But-
almost killed him and saved his life all at the same time one time.
At a scrapyard or
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah, I was running a crane at a scrapyard and I was unloading his truck and I reached over to grab this big refrigerator box and something told me to stop, and I stopped just in the nick of time, and Paul came scrambling out of there like a scrap rat.
And he would have died if you.
I
I
instantly.
mean, and
he
you
would've
feel
been
this was a
smashed.
God moment, right?
Oh yeah, yep,
No.
definitely there.
I don't know how recovery related all that is, but
Well, we wouldn't be here today if me and Paul weren't
right.
dead and I was in prison because I was probably high at the time, you know.
Imagine that. So, Brian, name of the show is Attitude for Gratitude. Tell me about your gratitude today.
Well, I'm grateful for everything. I mean, it don't get no better than this, you know.
Oh yeah.
So,
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Have him pick a number. Pick a number.
I wish I'd be able to fly without hitting the ground, like when I wipe out my Harley.
Yeah, I get that one. Pick a number 1 through 114. Any number, 100 through 1 through 114.
114.
Oh, what's your favorite sports team?
The Packers.
Oh my God. All right, young lady. So name of the show's Attitude for Gratitude. What's your gratitude look like today?
I don't know. I read my gratitude book every single day because I just know I have to be grateful for everything to be able to stay sober. But it was a big thing for me when I got sober this time to like forgiveness was huge. And like now I have a whole family in my life and like I'm slowly getting back to see my daughter. It's been 7 years, but
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Miracle stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I am kind of going backwards because I'd wrap up right here, but I real quickly just want to ask you, being that you're just about to get your 6 months and be graduated, what's been some of the biggest hurdles for you in recovery so far?
Probably forgiving my mom. I don't know. And like I have a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
So trauma's really been a big thing. But yeah, dealing with that every day. But I don't know. I just kind of this time when I got sober, I just said I just gave it up to God.
There you
Because
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I shouldn't have it all on my shoulders
No,
anymore.
and you don't have to, especially when you get connected in these rooms. Pick a number 1 through 114.
4.
Ooh, 4. We get to flip it back. Number 4. When you were little, who was your
gosh.
favorite superhero?
Does it have to be superhero?
Who was your favorite? What was your favorite thing when you were little?
Poison ivy.
Poison Ivy. Hey, that's villain superheroes to some people. Well, listen, I'm really grateful you guys came in and shared a little bit. Would you guys be willing to ever come back on the show full time for
Oh,
a whole
yeah.
show?
Yep.
All right. Now I'm tasking you with going out there and finding 2 people to fill your seats.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So, Eddie,
Yes,
back
sir.
to I'm just kind of filling you in. So yeah, the show started 3 years ago. It was at 2218, and I just did like I did with you. I scheduled guests,
Mhm.
and then when we moved it to We'll Work for Recovery, this is what it was like for 4 months. Was just a free for all.
Mhm.
It was just whoever wanted to come on, but the viewers, people didn't find it interesting.
Right.
It was fun for people inside.
It's harder to go deep in 3 minutes.
You can't. I
Right.
mean, even like that first kid, I wanted to really get into. That's why I wanted him back on. But so
Right.
I wanted to get back to doing this, and I compromised with Paul. Like he's
Mhm.
because we want something for inpatient for the people that are coming here.
Sure.
But we got this nice new studio now, so we're gonna start another night, Wednesday nights, where it's just for people going to meetings.
Perfect.
And then I'm gonna get back to scheduling guests. This is a familiar face. Who are you, young man?
I am Ray,
Welcome.
alcoholic,
Welcome back to the show, Ray.
and other problems too numerous to mention at this point.
One more time.
Other problems too numerous to mention at this point.
So then, with that said, what are you doing for your recovery today?
I'm here.
What else are you doing for your recovery?
I helped other people. I gave them a ride last week. And
Yeah.
The week before, I gave people rides.
Well, you got like 6 months clean now, or 8 months clean, or what are you at?
I think I have 500 and some months.
Yeah.
And 16,000 and some days.
So you're like at 45 years.
No, I'm at 47 years. It'll be 48 April 19th.
Damn. Yeah, I put it in my phone last time you shared that. It's amazing stuff. What would you tell someone who's never been to We'll Work for Recovery? People listening, because we have a lot of listeners that have never been down here. How would you explain this place to someone?
It's hard to explain. It's very artistic, I would say, because of all the artwork they have on the walls and stuff. It's very different
Yep.
than other places. It's like odd artwork too. It's not specific artwork.
You mean like a bunch of clowns and
Yeah, clowns and swords and
all sorts of
knives and
Right.
stuff hanging from the walls, like different pictures of different artists. Like they have
Bob Dylan in there,
Bob Dylan,
Blues Brothers, Marilyn Monroe.
Yep.
You
all
were at
those.
the other studio before we moved over here. You were on a few
Yes,
shows there.
Yep. Mhm.
Was that studio? I had more stuff in that studio, didn't I?
I think so. Yeah.
It was a much bigger area though.
Oh yeah, it was quite a bigger area.
So Ray's been on a few times. He's one of the biggest supporters of this show in house. And Ray, this is Eddie. Eddie, this is Ray.
Hi, Eddie.
Nice
Um,
to meet you, Ray.
And I'm gonna you'll be listening out there, but I'll explain how I know him, and we're gonna be sharing his story here after you're done. By the looks of it, are they having a pizza party out there?
Yeah, they are.
So down here, you can come down. Like I said, you can come down, watch us through the
I
little.
love pizza.
Go grab a
Go
slice. Go
grab
grab a
some.
slice
It's all
Uh,
good.
if you
I-
want. Grab a
Go
slice.
grab some.
She
Yeah,
made a big
I'll watch
pizza.
it.
She said.
Yeah.
Carolyn.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have it. It's a little party down here. So Ray, what do you tell someone who's struggling? They come up to you. Hey, you're the guy with 47 years. I've been thinking about drinking. How do I not pick up another drink?
What problems do you specifically have? And let's talk about each one of them in
So sit down and
Independently.
talk with them.
yes.
Sit down, have a cup of coffee, and hang out
Mhm.
with them.
Yep, talk with them specifically on what their problems are.
I know you go to. We brought this up before. Is you go to a club over in Fridley
Mhm.
and you play cards. Like you keep yourself real busy going there. And
Yes, I do.
your
Mhm.
whole life is recovery based, correct?
Pretty much, yes. Well,
And that's
every day I come to Fridley or here. Yeah.
yeah. And that's how you have 47 years.
Yeah.
And has it all been just easy and no issues, no mental health, no nothing? It's all been easy.
No, I wouldn't say that.
So life does
It's
show
not
up.
always been easy. For me, it was really difficult in relationships with females, male and female relationships, because I'm a very feeling person at this point in my life. You know,
Yep.
after being off drugs for so long, I can feel just about everything.
Mhm.
And when I break up or we have an argument or whatever, I can really feel that, and it really bothers me immensely.
Yeah, it's the one thing I couldn't say. There's certain parts of my recovery I couldn't tell you I was grateful for having my emotions back, just because feeling sometimes wasn't fun, you know. So I want you to pick a number, 1 through 114.
113.
113. Yeah, I lied. I said the numbers wrong. Pick a number between 100 or between 1 and 99.
98.
98. If you could rename, oh, that's what she picked. If you could rename yourself, what would you name? What would you pick for your name?
Race Bannon.
Race Bannon.
Yes.
Is there a reason for that?
Yes, he was on a cartoon.
Bannon.
Yeah, Johnny Quest.
There we go. One more. 1 through 97.
2.
If you were an animal, what would you be?
Let's see. That would be difficult. I would be a rhino.
A rhino.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Just so as always, you know what the name of the show is, Attitude for Gratitude. Tell us about your gratitude.
I'm grateful to be here today because there was a couple days there where I didn't feel very good. I felt really depressed and really lonely. And I'm so glad that I'm here. Really. I'm
Does
glad
it-
to have the fellowship and listen to people and be around people.
Usually this is where like I'd boot you and I wouldn't have you elaborate, but if you're okay with this, I just want to have you elaborate just a little bit, because I do share about it at the beginning of the show, and I will at the end. Is mental health a real thing? And if you're struggling, I beg people to reach out to someone or get to a meeting. And the reason I'm revisiting what you just said is because you went full circle right there. You said you were really down in the dumps, didn't feel like getting out, but why coming out and getting to the meeting, does that even change for you? Help with your mental health?
It's in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it has a whole chapter called Into Action. So what you need to do when you're in trouble or feel terrible is get into action. So how do you get into action? You go to a meeting, you go find a friend, you go call people, you do something to change the circumstances that you're in.
Nice.
You got to change it.
And that in kind of full circle, it helps with your mental health stuff.
Oh yeah. I have real bad mental health.
Okay.
I have major depression and major severe depression. So they had 2 adjectives on my depression. So I was so depressed the other day. And listen, I have 47 years. I took this bottle of metformin, and metformin lowers your blood sugar. I was thinking about taking the whole bottle. I brought it to my nightstand and put some water next to it. That's how close I was. And I have 47 years. And if I have 47 years and I'm that close, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I put it back and I came to a meeting and I did something different.
Well, and I put a hotline up there for you guys. And anytime we get into conversations like this, I implore you to please reach out if you're having any thoughts of self-harm, or if any thoughts like what Ray just shared about. You heard what he did. He went to a meeting. But I get it. Sometimes that's not available. And if that's the case, call that number, 988. If you're ever having any types of self-harm or any negative thoughts, pick that phone up. Just please do it. Or you got my number scrolling across the bottom. Might get voicemail, but call me back. Otherwise, like, just please reach out. So Ray, I love you, buddy. And I wanted to say this on air, is I appreciate you always being here and always supporting the show and being part of this whole community. Like, you are a staple here at We'll Work for Recovery now. You have been for a while, and I'm grateful for that. And I just wanted to say thank you on air.
Well, thank you too for doing this.
All right, now get out of here. No.
All right.
I think no one else wanted to come in, so I think
No.
I'm gonna start the interview with Eddie now.
All right.
Could you do me one favor?
Sure.
Bring me a slice of pizza.
Sure.
You want one?
I need cheese if they have cheese or veggie.
I think it was veggie, was it?
Yeah, then I'm okay.
If not, if they're out, they're out. No biggie. All right.
It's all good. I ate.
Let's get into
So
this
when you
show.
asked the the animal question,
Yeah, the rhino.
took me 1 or 2 seconds, and then I was like, eagle. I'd be a freaking bald eagle,
Oh, after the
top
show,
of the food chain.
let me bring you in the center. Just
Yeah.
Don't let me forget to bring you in there. He
Yep.
just hung a new bald eagle.
How awesome would it be to just soar up there in the sky?
That's all. Whenever we do, because
Yeah.
until I got this, thanks a lot, brother. I appreciate it. Until about 2 weeks ago, I got towels and stuff. 2 weeks ago, someone brought me this because at the end of my show, I love you, buddy. Thank you for the end of my show. It was like you want to go to you
This is
want it?
good.
All right, I was
Yeah.
gonna say it because I got new ones I ordered. I just honestly
It's
haven't
all- no, it's
I haven't
fine.
opened the package and set them up.
I'm just a rookie.
No, you're not. You're
Yeah.
fine. The end of my show for 2+ years, it would be all right out of left field. If you could have a superpower, what would it be? I always ask, and my people listening would put theirs. Mine was flying.
Yeah,
Mine's
flying.
flying.
For sure.
Others,
How many
yeah,
how many flying dreams do you have?
dude.
I think I've had less, but I used to have tons of flying dreams. A lot of times it would be like levitating, or I would be getting pulled away, or I'm trying to walk and I can't like I'm fighting gravity.
In your
does
dream.
does that happen to you?
I get it. No,
Yeah.
I think it was more so before.
Yeah.
Like, before I got clean. I
Yeah.
used to have real weird, vivid dreams, but
Yeah.
they're already out.
I still do.
I like that.
still
You know
do.
what? I like this kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
We haven't typically you would have came in, we'd already staring about your story.
Yeah.
But here, let's do this.
Yeah.
I already have questions for you on here too. Keep the questions coming. Everyone, I'm grateful for you all. Thank you for tuning in. Now we're gonna get to the our guest. Eddie's on the show, and here's how we know each other: is we both share at a place called. See, I'm not breaking in. No, we both share at a place called Fairview Riverside. It's where I went to my inpatient treatment about 8 years ago. And-
The program's Lodging Plus. That's what they call
Lodging
it. Yep.
Plus,
Yep.
and it's an inpatient rehabilitation type of medical facility, and I went there for 30 days. And a group of us who graduated from there, a few of us who are still alive, one of my goals was to be able to come back there and share.
Yeah.
Like when Bob was there, like
Yeah.
I've told my story, he was the first man in my life who wouldn't co-sign any of my shit. And it's Bob Bauer is his name.
He bust your balls.
Oh,
Right.
Ball,
That's-
yeah, ball
right.
buster Bob Bauer.
He called your BS.
Yeah, big time. I got
Yeah.
story after story in that little bit of time. But either way, they've switched the administrative. He retired and they have new people in there. And mine was every fourth Monday. Well, we had a new person doing scheduling, and I show up to do this new Monday. They put me on, and Eddie's sitting in there. And
My spot.
I was, yes. And you've been doing the commitment for how long?
It's been over. It's probably been 12 years, something like that. It's been a long time.
So when I was in there, I heard you.
yeah,
I had to have.
yeah.
But we ended up co-sharing.
Well, Tim, you gracefully offered because I
You were
think,
there first.
Yeah, well, that's
So
the thing.
you gracefully.
So, no, because you. I mean, I've gone. It's every fourth Monday, right?
Mhm.
And it hasn't moved in a decade. So then you show up, and I'm like, who the hell's this guy? Like, he's in my spot. What do they got going on here? And you were very graceful. You're like, oh man, there's new scheduler. They're doing something weird, and I'll just be quiet. You talk. I'll just sit here. And I'm like, no, man, I want to hear what you got to say. And it was awesome listening to you. I have to be honest.
Thank you.
Yep.
Because I was in my head the whole. I know when I've heard like Max, I've heard him. I got to know Max. After hearing you share though, like some things memorized, I kind of remembered it, but
Mm-hmm.
you share. But now I'm not trying to pump your ego, but you shared like you knew what you're doing, like you've been
Mhm.
doing it for 12 years.
Yeah.
Like you know how your audience, you interacted and I was just up there sharing like I would share in the middle of my meeting because I don't
Yeah.
don't know. And I right away when you were sharing, I'm like, I gotta get him on the show. I gotta ask him. At least I gotta ask him. First of all, I hijacked half of his time. And I love the way you're interacting. So let's get it started. You're in recovery?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. How long have you been? What's your clean date?
Yep. So, when I go to meetings, this is an interesting thing. I usually don't talk about how long I've been sober. And they say in recovery, it's like I've been sober today. All I got's today.
Today.
I mean, there's some truth to that, but I can tell you that in recovery, I've grown a lot. And especially, I'm an AA guy.
Okay.
So I know this isn't an AA club
Or
per
an AA
se.
club.
Right.
No, it's
Yep.
just a recovery community organization.
Right.
Go ahead. Yep.
But I'm an AA guy, and AA changed my life, and I use it every day. And I don't know. I just kind of I don't usually like talk about how long I've been sober because I don't think it's important. I just
Good enough.
but I've been sober for 18 years.
You know what?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do. I don't know if I don't know what I shared when I was at Fairview with you because it's never the same what I say.
Mm-hmm.
But since doing this program, this show, and getting outside myself and asking different types of people that I meet all over the Twin Cities, I recognize you found what works for you. I've had people from transcendental meditation, Buddhism, cold turkey, church, NA,
Sure.
CMA. And I had a guy sit in your seat and say, and he was pointing his finger, the only way this will work
Right.
is if you do the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And he was adamant, and he had 15 years, but
Yeah.
that's his story. And
Yeah.
I've learned, like, your sober date is important, and you have no, if that's like how you
Right.
feel about things, because I support that.
Yeah.
In the 24-hour thing, like once that epiphany came full circle for me, that it was after a few funerals, honestly, realizing like shit, tomorrow it's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed.
No.
And,
So-
I think the only reason I say that is at 18 years, I feel like people that have just come in, they're not going to relate to me as much because they're going to be like, this guy's been sober for a long time and he,
Right.
he's forgotten what it's like and his problems are probably different than mine. And, that's just how alcoholics and addicts are. So
How do you feel about that? On the flip side, do you ever walk in and feel like shit, I can't relate to where? What's your take on that? Sharing around newcomers.
Right. So there's, I mean, without getting derailed too much, but I love going in, and for me, I love helping newcomers. And there was a point in my recovery where I talk about, let's say early in recovery, I'd have a rough day
Mhm.
and I'd say, I need a meeting today. And I just need, I need this. And it was almost to the point where I was going to take from the meeting. Like I was going to go there and I was going to take something and feel good.
Right.
And then once I got through the steps and actually started living my life different, I realized the reason I needed to go to the meeting was to try and reach out my hand to someone I didn't know. And in that moment, I would forget about my problems and try and help someone. So now it's like when I have a rough day, I need to go and try and talk or help someone that is just fresh off the street. Like his problems or her problems are going to be way worse than mine.
Mhm.
And I'll forget about myself for a minute and actually do some good. And that's the beautiful part about being in recovery together, is that you actually I go there to help someone and then I receive
Yes.
instead of taking, right?
So I knew the question was going to come in the second you said this. I have someone who's always curious about,
Yeah.
and I understand where they're always asking this question. And what it is when you shared, you realize that the question is when. the question is, when in your recovery did you recognize, well, wow, like when I'm feeling this way, I can go there and hear someone else's problems, and in return, like at what stage do you remember when that clicked for you?
I do. I couldn't give you a specific like a specific day or anything like that, but it was after I had worked the steps and I started sponsoring other people. And at that point I realized I came full circle on everything, and I realized that the sponsor gets just as much out of sponsorship as the sponsee. And then I started to realize I'd have this crappy day. Every bone in my body wants to avoid meeting up with this person who wants my help. And, you know, they just need help with this and that. I'm talking about a sponsee, right?
I love this. Yeah.
Yep. And it's like, well, Eddie needs to, you know, go ride his bike today or whatever the hell it was. I'd have some, even if it was just stay at home and be alone. Like I deserve not to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And for whatever it was, like my sponsees and I would hold myself accountable and they would hold me accountable. I'd meet up and we'd work together and I would feel better. And then it started to click. So, I mean, if that answers the question.
Through service work,
right.
You found out this works. And that 12 steps after having a spiritual experience, or no. I should just read it. 12 steps.
Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, carry the message to other alcoholics and practice principles in all our affairs.
Full circle. You realize that's our last step in this program is we don't get to keep it unless we give it away. And you got to recognize the benefit of it live in person and working with it. When you brought this up, I go to a men's meeting at New Hope, Illinois every Thursday night.
Okay.
And there's a group of these old curmudgeony alcoholics. And I've shared this lots. I'm an old heroin junkie.
Yep.
I found my recovery in AA. I think, we shared. So I was in there listening to probably 4 or 5 years ago. Someone came in whining about their sponsee. God dang guy having this issue with the 4th step and a higher power and this and that. It kept going on and on.
Won't get it.
Well, this guy, Dave R, says, did you drink over it? No. Have you drank while dealing with it? No. He said, it's working. It clicked for me then, like, shit. And you shared about that. While I'm sitting here, and I always have a weird feeling about this is I don't need some other guy to be really suffering, but the worse their problems are, the less mine are, but while I'm involved and invested in what you're going through, mine go away. You know?
Right. Well, even at Lodging Plus, where we go in there and see people that are literally in inpatient treatment,
30 or less days.
Right. Exactly. Some of them are a day.
Yeah.
And you can look in their eyes and you can see they're just like dead inside.
Yes. Yeah.
And I need to see that. I need to remember when I first got sober, there was this guy named Dave Burble. He was in St. Paul. He's probably still there. He's probably still sober. And
sorry about your anonymity, Dave.
Oh,
no,
Dave,
I'm joking.
Yeah, Dave B. Dave B.
Yeah, because all my thousands and millions of
he'd introduce himself, his full name.
You're fine.
Yep.
I was just giving you shit.
Yep. But, and I blew him up.
I'm sorry.
We're on this Facebook group. There's a big Facebook group. It's called Friends of Bill and Bob. And every day there's someone blowing up some celebrity. Yeah. You know, like 33 years sober. Congratulations, Bruce W.
Yeah.
And so anyways.
Okay, so he said what I'm sorry.
Yeah, so dude, have you seen the cartoon Up, the Disney cartoon?
Have you seen the
Squirrel? That's me.
Oh,
yeah. I'll get sidetracked.
Have you seen the beginning of that? Like the sad part of
Up? Seen the whole thing.
Because a long time they didn't ever show that very beginning part, or someone, I don't know if that wasn't the case.
The house,
where the old man's wife dies.
Oh yeah, that was in there. Yeah.
Dude, that's the most saddest shit I've ever seen.
So the whole
squirrel.
Yeah. So anyways, he said, Eddie, you know what the reason is? This is Dave B. You know what the reason is why some people get it and some people don't? Because they never forget the pain. or they don't forget the pain. And that's a saying in recovery where they say play the tape through.
Yep.
And now like these Gen Zs that I'm feeling my age that they don't really have, they haven't ever experienced tapes or anything. But the whole idea is
Right.
that I would think about the instant relief that I would get from drinking or drugs, and not what would I
Yep.
feel like in the morning having to deal with everything. So
You're not focused on playing that tape through
yeah.
when you need the, yeah.
So in a sick, selfish way, it's part, how can I help this person? I'm there to help them. But at the same time, there's a little bit of it's better them than me, because now it's a little bit of fear. It's a little, it's making me remember what it was like. And that's a place that I don't want to go to. And, after being sober for this long, I know that what I'm doing works. And
Proof is in the pudding.
yeah. And even after a year, I feel like I knew that I could do it long term, because I was like, well, it's been a year, so something I'm doing is working.
So what you said, and I know it's like beating a dead horse for me, but
Yeah.
I've yet to get it the right terminology or put it
Mhm.
into words. And you just said, better you than me.
Right. Yep.
I think that's exactly the term. I'm trying to put that in a way because there's some guilt in me.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like I don't want there to be newcomers because I don't want the problem to be out there.
Yeah.
But we know there's going to be newcomers.
Right.
We know there's going to be people struggling and hurting. And I do need those people.
Yes.
I need those people. I'm going down a rabbit hole.
No, it's okay.
Has there been, and this question I think came in when you were sharing about when you didn't want to, there's times I don't want to go meet with a sponsor. I don't want to do this. Has there ever been a time where you're like, shit, I'm never going to get that hour back after a meeting or after a meetup or anything when you go to some recovery, something?
Never, and
In 18 years.
in 18 years. And actually, so I had this guy, ask me to sponsor him. He was we were in a small group at my home group, the small group.
You
It's
can share whatever, if you want, about what
Yeah,
your home group is, where it is, or
Yep.
you can advertise whatever.
My home group is the Sinking Ship.
Yeah.
It's in South Minneapolis. It's 7 p.m. on 35th and Aldrich, and it's an open meeting. There's men and women, and you can actually bring a non-AA with you, if it's like if you want to get a chip and bring your mom or something like that. So it's I got kind of the vibe of this meeting here. It's very chilled.
Yeah.
It's not very pretentious, and there's very good sobriety there. There's also the Salvation Army guys come there in Progress Valley. So
Nice.
you've got everyone, the whole spectrum. But
35th and Aldridge, the Sinking Ship, and that's Friday nights at
7 p.m.
So
Yeah.
you forewent your meeting for the show.
Sinking Ship. That's pretty much. I think we're the only one. If it's
You are.
Yeah.
It always comes up in. Then there's something called Meeting Chair.
Yeah.
It's an app, and you can find a lot of these meetings there. But like I said at the beginning, I don't gatekeep my recovery.
Yeah.
Wherever
yeah.
I got a good meeting, you'll hear me say, "Hey, New Hope Alano, this." And I'm glad you shared about that being an open meeting.
Yeah.
Do you find there's an importance when going to a meeting that people bring family when they're getting their clean time?
It's actually it's pretty spiritual when it happens. It's not that often, but because these family have been through like to hell and back.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, my parents always told me they were just waiting to get the phone call when I was dead.
I think a lot of our parents were.
Yep, I overdosed 3 times, and I'm sure my heart stopped on one of them, and they get kind of emotional, and I feel it. I feel it, and it's pretty great. So that's not a common thing, but that is something that you could do if you really wanted to.
I know it's silly the way I asked you. Do you think it's beneficial that your parent or family comes?
No, it's
But
okay.
Here's the bit: like when we Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays up here at 7 p.m.
Mhm.
It's the big meeting,
Right.
Like you saw, it's usually 80 to 100 plus people Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesday nights, it's called Wellbriety. It's a indigenous people based meeting, but anyone can go.
Mhm.
And Thursday nights, it's more of a spiritual one, but they're all open. They're all open meetings. And for people out there listening who's not sure what that means, open means anyone can come.
Right.
It's not
yep.
just people with the desire to stop.
Right. Yep. Open.
So, how did you get involved with Fairview? How did you get that commitment?
There was a guy who was working as a tech there at the time who is a good friend of mine, and he said that they were looking for speakers, and I never actually went to Fairview.
Mhm.
I wasn't inpatient, but I talk about part of my story was I went to Augsburg across the street for 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and I delivered pizzas at that Devani's that's literally right there on the
Oh, yeah.
corner on
I've
Riverside.
ate many of
Yep.
yeah, turkey salmon. He's there.
Yep.
Yep.
And but I got the commitment through him, and Bob Bauer at the time was coordinating it, and I've never actually met Bob
Yeah, you
because
said that.
he when I would get
He's
there,
never there at
he's
night.
never there
Yeah.
at night.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? One of these days I'm going to stop by when I'm on that 94 corridor and go in there and pop in there. And I never did. But he sounds like the kind of counselor that I would need.
For you know what,
I
being a
needed my
heroin guy,
balls busted. Yeah.
remind me to bring up the alcohol thing. I will with you.
So I was alcohol and heroin.
So
because I
being-
drank every day.
Well, and that's I meant you'll see what I'm talking
Yeah,
about here in a
yeah.
minute. With Bob Bauer, he's just as big. He's about 6'5",
Mhm.
bald on the top, but long hair on the sides, red cheeks, an old alcoholic.
Mhm.
He's one of us. He's an old alcoholic. He was a court administrative stenographer for like Ramsey County for like 20 years or something. But yeah, he was a no bullshit for an old heroin guy.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
He's the type. I don't know. I don't know if you heard me share. We when you're an inpatient there, they have you do your drug history, and that means you present it to your group.
Yeah.
And I had my construction paper, and I did this big long thing. I was all excited to share my drug history, and comes time for me to go share, and I'm excited to tell these guys how big of a junkie I was.
That's a report you had studied a long time for.
Bob shut me down in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
He said, "Okay, you're a junkie. Next."
Yeah, exactly.
That type of,
right. Love it.
He reminded me that basically what
you wanted
I'm not.
to brag about how much dope you did, and he's just like, dude.
Yeah, he
shut
knew what
up.
I needed. Like you said,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
certain people like you can hear about them. It's like, yeah, that's what I needed. I didn't know that's what I needed.
You
Was
got
there-
the Encyclopedia Britannica written out. and you just get
Basically.
slammed.
Yeah, like a timeline. Oh, in 1990, whatever.
Remember the World Book volumes? They were like 20. That's like your drug.
It was, dude. I had these two big, huge, 3 foot by whatever, and he just shut it down. But that's where I mean, he just knew, like, he helped me realize that I'm not that unique, that
Mhm.
special. I'm not. You know what? Our brains
Mhm.
come in and tell us, and I had something to prove to people. Was there ever a time when you were at Fairview that
That's why people don't want to do the steps, because they think they're unique. And that's what I did. And those steps didn't apply to me.
Mhm.
That was for other people. So what did you say when I was at Fairview? Was there ever a time when I was at Fairview?
you were, and it's a sad story to say, or not really, but I was sharing there. I think it was about, I can't recall if it was right after COVID or right before, but
yeah.
everyone's introducing themselves because I used to do it a little different. We interacted, and it was Tom alcoholic, Nancy alcoholic, everyone there was maybe 1 or 2 people that said addicts, and we're sharing. And after a little while, I said, wow, there's a lot of alcohol. Times are changing. I thought fentanyl was something with insurance wasn't covering addicts to go in there.
Really?
So they'd sit out there and drink to get in there.
Oh.
Did you ever experience this or hear anything about it?
I can't recall that. No.
All right, then it's the
Maybe,
next few
yeah.
questions mean nothing. Then
That's okay. You
I know it's fine. So your buddy came to you and said, "Hey, we need someone."
yeah.
I sidelined our conversation there.
Yeah, so that's how I got signed up. And then I ended up because I think someone else told me they needed some more spots. So then I got a few more spots filled with other people that go to the sinking ship.
Is that a commitment at sinking ship? Like you guys have a commitment?
No.
Oh, okay, it's not.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep. It's just the individual commitment. It's just there's 3 or 4 of us from there that have our own night because they needed spots to fill. And then I cherry picked some people just because I knew
Right.
them one.
Yeah.
And I think we have a few really good speakers there that we end up getting, we get quite a few people coming to the meeting from
Yeah.
that group because we have some solid sobriety
Yep.
speaking in there, and they're entertaining. And that's the thing I talk about with speaker meetings. For me, they're, in AA, there's a million different meetings,
Mhm.
especially here in the Twin Cities. And it's all day, every day. There's Saturday Night Live. You
Yep.
can, this meeting here, like I've never seen anything like this, and I've been sober a long time. So it's just about finding the right meeting. And for me, speaker meetings, it can be very good for someone who's introverted and doesn't really want to talk.
Yeah.
That's probably not the best thing for most alcoholics because it's about being uncomfortable, right? Because
Yeah,
the comfortable thing is just a drink.
Yeah.
Going into treatment's uncomfortable.
Yep.
But what was I saying about that? Finding the right meeting. So the problem is if I go to a speaker meeting and the speaker sucks, sorry, some speakers just
They do.
suck.
They're bored, or we just can't connect.
And I'm just going freaking nuts. Like I'm and anywhere I'm like not present. I'm thinking about some
Yeah.
shit I want to buy or something I want to do, or usually something not very spiritual instead of what I'm supposed to be there doing. And so that's why I think it's important to have good speakers in there. And I try and find women I think are underrepresented in the recovery community, which
Big
is
time.
Yeah. So I'm
Yep.
always like on the lookout because, I think it's very important. Obviously women to have other women to connect to.
And that's the one thing I don't know if I did when I was there, but I don't give many suggestions. I just learned, and it's mostly because of doing this show. On TikTok doesn't like it when I go longer than an hour, and then I have to prove I'm not a robot. Gosh, what was I just saying to you?
We were talking about women.
Oh, the one suggestion I will give, because it changed my recovery so much, is, and nowadays you got to be careful with the guy and the girl and the he and the she and the they and the them, and we are LBGTQ plus friendly here at Will Work for Recovery. If I missed one, I'm sorry. I'm not up to it all. I just don't have all the information.
Anyone is welcome.
Anyone.
Everyone is welcome.
But my suggestion is, hey, if you're a guy, at least give yourself a shot to go check out a stag meeting, an all men's meeting, one
for
time.
sure.
And a woman, and I say this at Fairview, and
For
I'll
sure.
look back at the women and
Yeah.
I say, go find a women's meeting. My recovery changed at that point because I'd gone almost 18 months before walking into an all men's meeting.
Yeah.
And like I said, ego, this and that. So I'm walking in, me making sure I'm dressed right.
Yeah.
My
totally.
flies up, no boogies.
Totally.
And I've shared this before, but that's the one thing I do suggest is like, at least try it. When it comes to your recovery now, after 18 years, what do you do? What is your recovery? Is it just Friday night that, and then once a month, or what do you?
Yeah. I speak at the treatment center once a month.
Mhm.
I go to one meeting a week, my home group, and then I sponsor other men.
So you're actively sponsoring guys?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you get, when you go to Fairview, do you ever give your number out to guys?
I do. Yeah. Actually, I give my number out every time I go.
I saw
Yeah.
that.
I put it out there. Most people don't call me. Occasionally I will get some people that call me. And the thing is that it's very hard for an alcoholic or an addict to reach out, right? And they think they might be burdening me or whatever.
Mhm.
But I mean, half the people that are in there are just, they don't want to be there anyways, right? They're just
Yeah.
there because their wife wants them there, their husband wants
Yep.
them there, the court wants them there, the kids are, they got nowhere to go. And then you got, some people that are just really serious about it. But yeah, I give my number out, and I like made a commitment to my sponsor when I first started, when I did this, that I would do that. And I think that my, like it's highly probable I'm going to be sober tomorrow. And the thing is,
You'll hear that with people who have time that say it that way.
yeah, I
That-
mean, it's highly probable, right?
Yep.
But the thing is when I first started AA, I started it to be sober. And then it got to a point where I realized AA, this is how I live my life and I enjoy it. And how can I get the most out of it? Because I want to wake up every day and I want to be happy.
Mm.
And that's a very difficult thing to do, especially in early sobriety. And it just took me some time. And then I started to learn how to really to just enjoy life. And that's like my TED talk right there. But there's a few things I talk about this when I wake up in the morning. One is I want to be happy, but I was listening to this other podcast that wasn't
Mine.
It wasn't recovery related.
Yeah.
It wasn't your podcast. Tim. Sorry, Tim.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
But the other thing is people do is they want to avoid pain. So it's not just about being happy, but avoiding pain. And, especially coming into recovery, that is a painful thing to do. The most painful thing to do is to, metaphorically speaking, or literally speaking, put the bottle down.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell that to people in Fairview Lodging Plus, like this is the pain, facing the pain, feeling the pain is going to treatment. And it's
feeling it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
getting sober by far is the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life.
What was it that brought you in the rooms initially? Like, do you remember that 18 years ago?
Of course.
What?
Yeah.
Are you okay sharing about it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for sure. So I will talk about this a little side note, when people, they come and they talk about their experience, strength, and hope, right? And that's a lot of times that's what a speaker meeting is. And they usually start out when they were the sperm and the egg and then get to today. And, they go into like when they were a child and this and that. And, I'm not trying to talk down upon anyone's childhood experiences or trauma or anything like that. And, I mean, I think we all had it to some extent. Obviously, it's worse for some if they had sexual abuse or physical abuse or things like that. But when I usually just skip over a lot of that because that's what Bob told you was like, okay, you did a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep,
so
yep.
you didn't fit in. I get it. So what's important, right? What's important, especially when people are just getting into recovery, is I want to know, what did I do when I was in treatment? Like, what's the most relevant thing to these people at that point in
And
time?
that they can identify with.
Right.
Part of.
Exactly.
Yep,
Exactly.
yep.
So, I usually skip through all that stuff. I mean, I do have some really interesting stories. But what led me up to that spot was I had, probably 20 different detoxes and 3 or 4 treatments. Thank you. Appreciate that. No, it's like 4 treatments. My mom even sent me out to this treatment in Oklahoma called Narcanon. Kirstie Alley is their spokesperson, and it's a non-AA treatment methodology. It's still there.
Methodology.
Well, it's based on Scientology.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
isn't that the one that's correlated with Scientology?
It is, and I only made it like a week in there because I didn't want to be there, and but so anyways, back on topic.
Yeah. No, that's part of it though. So
It
okay,
is.
yeah,
It
that's
is.
yeah.
So, I did a whole bunch of treatment and shit over the years. I had a period of sobriety for 1.5 years, and then I was back out for 5 years. And what got me into treatment the last time is I can't really explain it, but I can tell you it was my bottom, right?
Yeah.
And that bottom is very difficult to find, and it's always different for everyone.
Yes.
And they talk about high bottoms and low bottoms.
Mhm.
And when I first got sober for my 1.5 years of sobriety, I was 20 years old, and I stayed sober for 1.5 years. And some of those guys I still know
From that 1.5 years.
right.
Okay.
And so they have an extra like 6.5 years on me or
Mhm.
something like that, because
So you got clean. You stayed sober for about a year and a half, then went back out for another
Yep.
5+.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And you know, I definitely have identified the things that I did different for that year and a half than I did when I first got.
Were you in the that year and a half? Was that program based recovery?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
I was actually living at the sober dorm in Augsburg. It's called Step Up
Yep.
Program, right?
Do they still have that?
They do.
Do you know-
Yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah. It was very new when I was there. It was only the second year. I think it was a lot smaller than it is now.
I've heard of it, and I think
Yeah.
we had someone on. Whatever. Side. There we go. Squirrel.
It's all good. Yep.
So your body.
My bottom.
Some people say, "Oh, your bottom is when you stop digging."
Right.
But you said something like and this is the part where I say I always interrupt.
Yeah.
Everyone's bottom that's their own bottom, however that looks. And it's at Fairview that I always get asked that because I usually open up any questions and they're, what was your bottom? Because I ran over a kid while drunk driving, or
Yeah, that's a
you know,
bottom. For
I got a
sure.
10-year sentence, whatever.
Mhm.
I don't have some big event. It was 2 years of straight lying, cheating. I mean, it was 2 years of hell.
Yeah, yeah.
And every day was me trying not to get that, that nasty circle, the DTs, don't get drugged. It was that, and it just got so sick and tiring. There wasn't one big event
Right.
that I can share about that says was my bottom, as you hear a lot of people's
Mhm.
when they talk about bottom, just like spiritual. I will get that. So okay,
No,
your
it's
bottom.
okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, you bring up some good points. So the thing is there's people that might hit the kid drunk,
Mhm.
and then they go to prison or whatever, and they come out and they're still not at the bottom, right?
Right.
Because they go back out.
Mm-hmm.
So what I talk about too when I'm in Fairview is that for me, my bottom was an accumulated amount of events that got me to that point in time, and I can't really explain it, but I was basically homeless. I had a vehicle. I was staying on a friend's couch in South Minneapolis. I had no money. Well, I never had any money. And I was waking up and I'd be broke. I'd be having to figure out how to get my heroin for the day. Usually the
That
first
nasty circle.
yeah. So the first thing I would do is, I'd get some money together to go to Hum's Liquor on Hennepin and just get like a small pint of vodka, and then I'd be able to. I just did that every freaking day, or if there was some bottle lying around. But anyways, it was just that like kind of normal. It was September, and it was starting to get cold. I was sleeping on a 3-season porch, and sweating the sheets every night because I'm sick.
Withdrawals, going back and
Yep.
forth to that crap.
Yep. And I don't know. I eventually I didn't have any criminal charges. I do have a felony that I got in 2002 in Virginia, where I'm from. I'm from the East
Okay.
Coast.
Is that where your family, like everyone's from out
Some
there?
still there. Yeah.
Okay.
And so like I had done all that, and so I didn't have any of that like looming. I wasn't on probation. So I can't really tell you other than I just got so beat down that I just kind of wanted to die.
I understand.
I was like,
Okay.
I can't do this anymore.
Right.
And I didn't really plan out the suicide, word for word or anything, but I was there. I was close. And I went to 1800 Chicago and got a Rule 25. That's where they were giving them out at the time.
Okay. And a Rule 25 is, or go explain what is a rule. Hey, what's a Rule 25?
The Rule 25 is I don't know if they do it in other states, but in Minnesota, it is a way where you can have the state will pay for you to go to treatment.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do other things with the Rule 25.
Yes.
But I know they do treatment, and the state paid for me to go there.
You don't see my air quotes, but it's an assessment that a counselor or
Right,
someone from who's able to legally do this, they talk, how much do you drink? Like they go through what your life looks like. And if you meet certain criterias, then boom, insurance will pay for it. So the reason I bring this up is a lot of people's children, mothers and fathers that are listening, and they don't know how to get their kid into treat.
Yep.
Like a good starting point is go get a Rule 25.
Go get the Rule 25 assessment. Yeah, I did that. And I had a Virginia driver's license at the time. I had a Minnesota license before that, but I had left for 5 years and I came back and they didn't even need to verify I was a resident.
Really?
So just like a bit of information. I mean, this was a while ago,
Okay.
but she didn't care. She interviewed me. And then 2 days later, they sent a car to pick me up and I went to treatment in Wilmer,
Really?
which is a couple hours west of the Twin Cities. I was
And
there for a
looking
month.
back on it now,
Mhm.
was it someone trying to help you?
Yeah,
That's the feeling you had.
absolutely.
The lady, like, who cares where you're from? Like, let's just get this done and get you some help.
Yep. She very much.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't, I wasn't,
It was you weren't a dollar sign.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah, I wasn't, she wasn't like fighting anything I said. I was honest and everything, but she definitely wanted to help and she got me the help. It was really easy to do, like in hindsight. So,
Okay.
Minnesota, like I have a huge debt of gratitude for that. And
I'm right there with you.
yeah, I mean, I like to think I've paid it back in taxes, that I've paid it forward because I'm still here. I've been here and working the whole time. And
Well, can I ask you something that I'm
Yeah.
going to ask you certain questions like this. That you're
Sure.
like, dude, of course, we do have a lot of people listen that aren't familiar with this. When you go to Fairview Riverside and you share,
mhm.
you take the 2 hours out of your night to drive there to go. How much do they pay you to do that?
Yeah, I don't get paid.
Oh, you do it for free?
Yeah.
I know we're
Yeah.
laughing, but people don't realize that you're going to this place where people, it costs. I think my insurance paid 60 grand for me to be there for 30 days.
Not that much.
It was spendy.
It's a hospital, so it's always going to cost more. Yeah.
3 hots and a cup, but it was.
Yeah.
I had a menu to choose from.
Yeah.
We had, Desi's just whatever. You got professionals,
Little Debbie's for dessert.
everything. Yeah. So the reason I bring that up is people don't realize like a lot of these things that people in the recovery community do. You're going to, and you've already shared about it. You go there and do this for free.
Right. Yeah.
You do this because it in return helps you.
It really does. Yeah, it helps me a lot.
So you get your Rule 25.
I get a Rule 25. They ship me off to Wilmer. I was there for, roughly 30 days. And it was, I kind of joke around about this because when I go to Fairview, I read, there's a passage in the doctor's opinion. I read one paragraph when I'm there. And it says in the paragraph, to them, their alcoholic life seems like the only normal one. They're what is it? I have it here.
No, I remember. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm on that right page, but you're right. He's not joking because when we went there, you had it. Didn't you have it printed
says,
out?
This is to them, their alcoholic life seems like the only normal one. They are restless, irritable, and discontented unless they can again experience the sense of ease and comfort which comes at once by taking a few drinks. And to them, their alcoholic life seems like the only normal one. So I talk about the normalization of going to treatment and the normalization of getting arrested and the normalization of getting going to jail. So in treatment, when it used to be Zaggett's Dining Guide. Zaggett's is gone. Now it's Yelp or Google. Really, I just use Google reviews for everything. And
I haven't heard that since Zaggett's.
Zagat, yeah, it was a little red book.
Yeah,
they had the TV guide. You remember that? The TV guide.
Did you know like the 5-star Michelin restaurants?
Yeah,
that all started from the tires Michelin. It was a way
yeah.
for them to get people to use their tires to go to these different diners.
I figured it had something to do with
I
that.
just heard the backstory on that. But so
the Zaggett's Dining Guide, I was like, we're gonna do Eddie's Treatment Center Guide, and this is how it's gonna go. So the Lodging Plus is, well, it's conveniently located in the center of Minneapolis off of Riverside Avenue near the 94 corridor. The hospital staff is quite friendly. They're better than when I went to 1800 Chicago, and they're basically like prison guards. I get to wear whatever attire I want compared to 1800 Chicago, where I'm wearing an orange jumpsuit and I have
Yep.
Bob Barker slippers on, the little brown Bob
The
Barkers.
Barkers. Mine were orange.
Yep. The food is, it's pretty good. At least I get my own menu to pick from it, and it's not like sweat meat and whatever. I get a little salad with my salad dressing, and the coffee actually tastes like coffee, and it doesn't taste like it came out of the Kool-Aid container because they mixed both containers. There's not water at the bottom because it's a boat, like one of the trays. And then the bedding, it's super nice. It's a spring mattress. It's not like a jail mattress where
Eddie's Egg guy.
right. And then the pillow is like ultra plush pillow compared to this last treatment center I was at. So you kind of get the idea, right?
Yep.
So to them, their alcoholic life seems like the only normal one. I mean, it was normal for me to have to look out for the police. Normal to shit, they got me. I gotta go to treatment. I get out of treatment. I'd be able to stay clean for a day or two, a week,
Yeah,
and then I go back out. So I forgot what we were talking about, but
when you're in there
Yeah.
sharing with people, you're
Yes.
you're relating.
right. Yep. Yep.
You go in and you share about out of the doctor's opinion, or was that the doctor's opinion?
This is a doctor's
Yes.
opinion. Yep.
And what I really, when I heard you share there,
Yeah.
I don't want to say it was clinical. I would say it was uniform. What I heard, I mean, and your time got cut in half because of me,
Yeah.
but you related with them, and you involved them. You stood down there. I was sitting on stage.
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
lump.
Yeah. I pace.
Yeah,
I
well,
pace.
but you had them involved. Like,
Yeah. You
how
gotta
did-
get them engaged, man. That's the
Yes.
thing is like they get in there and they get speakers and new people are like half brain dead anyways, right? We've
Yeah,
been
I was.
bathing our brains in drugs and alcohol for decades sometimes. And then we get in there and the fog is like just starting to lift. So that's the thing is why like I get in there and I really want to be exciting. I want to be engaging. And
I can tell you were.
yeah,
Like you
Yeah.
were. So recovery, you were near your bottom.
right.
You were at your
Mm.
bottom.
Yep.
And then you get into the rooms. This was after, so I'm just replaying this out here. Let me see what you asked. And I'll get to after we go through some more of his stories. We'll get back to do you know Ronald Feist?
I do. Ron.
It's my
Hey, buddy.
sponsor.
Nice.
I've known
Yeah.
him my whole life.
Right.
Him and
Yeah.
my brother.
Ron's a good guy.
He's on. He just shouted you out
Nice.
here.
Good to see you, Ron. Or, yeah.
Small world.
You racing cars? Car season racing's coming up here.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. My first 3 years, I got to be their little greenhorn. I'd go to Brainerd with them, and because that was where we partied, the zoo. Like
Yeah.
up in Brainerd, that's the most partying I've done in a lot. But I got to go up there and be sober with him and his dad and
Awesome.
stay in the condos on it, whatever. It was
I've done amazing stuff with people in sobriety, and a lot of
Yes.
people Ron knows his. So that the it used to be my home group,
Code Blue
where I know
or-
Ron. It was Into Action.
into action.
Yeah, it's a men's meeting, and
Yeah.
that's Friday nights as well in
Yeah.
Bloomington. So
So
if you-
Broadway Pizza after.
that's a great meeting.
I
Yeah,
wonder if I met you there or something. I'm talking 8 years ago.
great
7
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ron saved my he's
Solid.
part of my story. Big,
yeah,
big time.
Ron solid.
Yeah, I love small
Yeah.
world stuff. So
Give me a call, Ron.
you heard
Let's
him.
catch up.
There you go. Yeah, Ron, side note, just to put him on blast a little bit is
Yeah,
I go into recovery. My mom calls him. Would you be Tim's sponsor? He's like, Tim's got give him my
Shut
number.
up.
Oh yeah. Him
Really?
and my brother grew up like my whole
Oh,
life.
okay,
I've known
okay,
Ron. Like,
okay, got it.
but that's one of those stories where I can say, like, I
Yeah.
knew how he got down. Like he wasn't like me.
Sure,
But
sure.
this and the horror, I mean, just I knew he partied and he was the only person.
Ron didn't drink 1, 3, 2, and then call it a night. Is that
Yeah,
what you're trying
he
to
wasn't
say?
just a weekend
Okay.
warrior.
Yeah.
But he was the one, like the validation to me, like this program did work. And if there was someone I was gonna share a fifth step with, like I knew he could understand. Like I said,
Yeah.
not to all the extents, but it was one of those things. I had a cousin in Arizona who kicked meth and used the program. But other than that, my only seed that was planted was this guy,
Mm-hmm.
my brother's friend, who we made fun of. Oh, that fucking quitter.
Mm.
He's the quitter.
Yeah.
But he was the one whose life turned around.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready for racing. Great to see you, my brother. Love you, my boy. I'll call you.
Love you too, Ron. Good deal. I'll give you a call.
All right. So I thought someone was all right. So you get a year and a half on your belt, then you decide to go back out. Then you're out there running and gunning for 5 years. Then you come back to the rooms.
Yep.
Take me through just that, like how it's sunk in this time.
Okay. So I'm gonna be fully transparent. And
Please do.
I mean, something that I've learned in recovery is that it's better to lie sometimes. No. So what I've learned in recovery is that I like to be mindful about the information I'm sharing because I don't want it to be taken the wrong way. So I'll tell you what I'm talking about here in a second.
You know what? I'm responsible for what comes out of my mouth. I'm not responsible for how you hear it.
That's also true. That's also true.
Just a side piece someone said to me not
Yep.
long ago.
So that's
But
all.
okay.
So here,
But I like where you're being really
Let's-
aware of.
yeah, let's what we're going to talk about that, and then I'll tell you my thought process and
Okay.
logic on it. And part of that actually we talked about earlier was telling people how much sobriety I have.
You're right. No, you're right.
Some people could take it, okay, this guy I should listen to. He's been
But it
sober
could
a long
shut them
time.
down from even hearing a message. too.
Right. But then
I-
other people might be
Yeah.
like, well, I ain't got nothing in common with him. I still got needle marks
Right.
on my arm.
No, and that's what I meant. Like I fully
Yeah.
support and understand it.
But it's true. And you know what? Have you ever told that to your significant other?
That's
that doesn't work.
there anymore.
That's
No,
yeah.
I'm joking. But no,
I can't control how you feel.
Yeah, that only works so much. Yeah,
Yeah, you're sleeping on the street. So
yeah, good. You know what? Great point, Eddie.
yeah.
Great point. That doesn't apply. You can't just.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna be a single son of a bitch.
Know your audience. Know your
No,
audience.
there you go.
Know
You
your
know what?
audience.
Yeah, no,
All right. So
spot on, brother. Thank you.
so what happened was I'm in treatment, right? Okay. We're talking about when I was in treatment. Okay, yeah, I remember now. So I'm in treatment this last time I'm in treatment, and they shipped me off. It was a Rule 25. It was very it was not my best treatment. Like there was the facility wasn't the greatest. My counselor, I didn't really she was nice, but she was very young. I think she was even younger than me. And I'm like 26 at the time.
Not crap on what I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask is, looking back now, are you
Yeah.
speaking from the knowledge you have now, or from where your headspace was at the time? Do you see what I'm asking?
I'm getting into my headspace at the time.
All right,
Yeah.
then I'm gonna just shut and let
Yep.
you go.
Yep. So my headspace so my headspace at the time, I get in there and here, I think this is the most important thing. I was scared. I was very scared. I had tried getting sober before, and I even had a year and a half, talked about that.
Right.
And I went back out, and it was way worse after 2 weeks of being back out there. I was
worse
right-
than you were.
yes.
Okay.
After a year and a half.
Driven
Yeah.
by 100 forms of fear. I heard that somewhere.
Yep. No, it's a thing. And so I'm in there. I'm really scared this time. And I had this like healthy fear, I guess. So I think in early sobriety, that's good because I had this uncertainty. Am I really gonna be able to do it this time?
Right.
And I still question myself. Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough?
You mean like today? You still
Well,
question yourself?
Yep.
Okay,
I do.
okay.
I do. And it's not if I'm doing enough to be sober, but am I really doing enough to recover and to really get the most out of life? And recovery is very much you get it out of it. I get out of it what I put into it.
100%.
Yeah, and
Yep.
and it's still like that, right? It's like I exercise and do all that stuff, not just at the gym, but real recovery,
Right.
right? So I'm in there, I'm scared, and I remember I just was like, I had been exposed to AA and recovery enough that I knew that I have a big mouth and I should try and listen a little bit. I did an okay job with that. I had a little bit of tiffs with people when I was in there. This particular group of people, because I go into the Lodging Plus once a month.
Right.
It's a 28-day program. It's a completely different set of people every time.
Right.
It's a different vibe.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're like very receptive and sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
Well, this group I was with wasn't really that great. I had one there was one or two people in there that, you know, I kind of befriended, but
Was it a big facility with 20 people, 5 people?
yeah, it was probably 30.
about
20,
the same
30
as kind
people.
of like
Yeah,
Fairview. Okay.
just like a normal unit.
Okay.
um,
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I had my own room, which was pretty
Nice.
cool. I didn't have
Yeah.
a roommate. So I ended up, I was like, I'm just gonna do what they tell me to do, and they shipped me off to Cochrane House in Hastings,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a halfway house. I don't know if I know they still have,
Yeah, Cochrane House is still around.
they still have,
Mhm.
they have a men's halfway
I
house.
believe it is. Yes.
Yeah, and I mean,
Oh.
that place it was kind of a dump.
The guy who was just here, I think he had to leave because he had to
Nice.
get back to Cochrane House. I'm almost certain of it.
Nice.
But-
Okay, well, that's a haul from here.
Yeah, he had. He
Yeah.
takes a certain squirrel. Just
Yeah,
keep
yep.
going. Okay.
And
I'm
that,
sorry.
so it was kind of a dump.
Mhm.
But this guy Kenny I remember him. My counselor's name was Fran. She was like a Bob Barker.
Okay.
Or Bob Bauer.
Bad Bauer.
I
No,
mean,
no bullshit.
She was just she was a bitch.
Just a curmudgeonly old bitch.
Yeah, and she didn't give a shit about what excuses I was giving her. And
The
I remember
lifesavers.
my last weekend there, and here I am. Eddie is the model. I'm the model patient
Inpatient.
or
Yep,
whatever.
yep,
She
yep.
grounded me for the last weekend because I was late or something. Like the one time I was late, and she didn't give a damn.
Right.
You know, she slammed it on me, and that's how it's always been in my recovery. Like I kinda need
Accountability.
tough love. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that last treatment, I did, you know, I was saying, if I like threw something in the trash, if I threw something to the trash,
Mm-hmm.
I picked it up. If I missed, I still do that. I started that in treatment. Another thing is, and like, this is kind of crazy, and by no means am I perfect, but like batteries, like AA batteries, I just will not throw them in the trash.
You recycle 'em.
I recycle them. I put them in a bag, and
You go out of your way to make sure.
I go out of my way because I know it's wrong, and I know that that's what leads me down the path.
Yep.
When I'm just like, fuck it, I'm throwing it in the trash.
I think this is a really important topic you're bringing up. If you ever, like I said, Monday, Wednesdays, any night, you hop in here on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, just to hear Paul. You didn't get to meet him. He's a long hair guy, motorcycle guy. It's Carolyn's better half who you met, but he shares about that at the beginning of the meeting. He'll say, you know, hey, cigarette butts, just throw them in. It's a change of lifestyle.
right?
You start with throwing a cigarette butt in it.
Cigarette
And
butts.
you know what? Even if you see one it's not yours, go give it a shot. Pick it
Yeah.
up once.
I picked some up yesterday.
Yeah, it's
There
just
was a water
yeah.
bottle in Cub Foods.
or holding the
I was
door
just-
for just those little things, but
I
doing.
do that.
I think it's important because for me, a lot of it for me was shit. I don't know why I just said that. I lied to you. Like that was a big part of my first few months.
we were going to talk about lying. That was the thing. Yes.
Come on,
Yep.
but
So
yeah,
I don't always hold the door for the old lady. Like if it's cold, I'm just like, I gotta get the fuck in. I don't want to deal with this. So, but I try, you know, like
Right.
sometimes, and I still like have little road rage incidents and everything. I'm not perfect, but okay. So I get out of treatment. I'm in this halfway house, and then what was his name? Who we were the first guy? Mike.
oh yeah, Mike,
The
yep,
the Boilermaker.
yes.
So I had a criminal history, and I was getting denied for these jobs, and it just felt like because I'm in Cochrane House. I finally get out of there. I couldn't get an apartment at the first couple places because of my criminal.
Felonies and yep.
And then
Wow.
this one lady, she let me get a place in New Brighton, which is like North Metro,
Yep.
Roseville area. And she was in recovery. I said, hey, look, I'm 90 days sober.
You're honest with her.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm in recovery. I'll give you a place. And this is a big place. I mean, they had, she had a couple hundred units or something like that. It was a big apartment building.
Would you say she took a chance on you, or just she's recovery? She was doing.
She's probably she just wanted to help me. And, you know, I was genuine, and I always paid my rent on time. I think I was only there for 6 months, and that before I moved to another part of the city.
But up until that, like your
didn't-
criminal background, jobs are getting 86 and
Right.
work options and but this is how their early recovery. Side note, and we can get to you met your wife in recovery since you've been in recovery.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you get out, hit the ground running, whatever. When this 18 years ago, and you start embarking on life, you're being open, honest about everything. Things are changing. How is your life different from? I know it sounds silly, but you're starting this new, fresh life from what it was before. What were the big differences?
Differences between
Like how you're living. I mean, okay, so we're honest now. We're
between before I got sober.
Yeah.
and then?
yeah.
Oh, well, the honesty thing. So that, I guess that's a little later. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But how my life was different. It's a lot to take in. You know, I specifically remember like Friday and Saturday nights, even though like I was very reclusive at the end of my my run,
Mhm.
just feeling weird on a Friday night and not going out. And I would do things though, like meetings, and
Mhm.
I would go to, I worked retail, so I was able to go to this noon meeting in Maplewood every day. And so I was going to a lot of AA, but in early sobriety, like it's kind of foolish. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know, I mentioned earlier, we're bathing our brains in drugs and alcohol for years and years and years. It takes some time to start to feel normal. And I can tell you, I do feel normal now. You know, I mean, my life's not perfect. Or
How long did
anything.
you use for? How many years?
Like 11 or 12 of daily heroin, IV, and I drank every day for a little longer than that. And
So you're okay.
yeah,
I bring that up for the
Mhm.
simple fact, the one thing Ron said to me, I think I was at little over 2 years, and I was beating myself up. This is
Mhm.
bullshit. I'm still having these thoughts, and why aren't I why isn't this?
after
And
2 years of
two,
sobriety.
2 years of sobriety, and I
Yeah.
hit it hard. I mean,
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough, everyday meetings and everything was recovery, service,
Right.
service, chairing meetings.
Mhm.
Hey, Tim, how long did you use for? I don't know, 10, 15 years. Oh, and you thought it'd turn around in 2 years?
Yeah.
I mean, things like that, and guys came before me that would say certain things like that helped me just recognize, like, oh shit, yeah, you know.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's fair, and everyone's experience is different.
Oh, yeah.
I for certain, I mean, I recall doing like a freaking 180 in about 90 days. My life was totally different. I had my own place. I had a job. I was able to, you know, pay for, you know, support myself.
Right.
And for me, it happened a little, you know, it was pretty fast.
See, on that, I mean, and that's your story.
Mhm.
That's
But I still didn't feel normal.
okay. That's where I was going. Is that
Yeah.
on the inside. So they talk about the promises. We've all heard these promises, like things that used to baffle us, but you're still dealing with the mental side of things. So all the material stuff, the jobs and the credit score, whatever, things are turning around for you,
Yeah.
but you're still, I don't know, fighting an internal. How long before that? I know you said right
Okay.
now you're good. That's 18 years later, but
So yeah, this is good. So couple things. So I finally get this apartment, and I'm working a job, and I was probably around 90, 100 days, something like that. And I had some pills saved in a safe that had my safe keepings in it, just a little portable safe. And like sort of in a fit of rage, I flushed this, it was methadone pills, and there was probably a Xanax or two in there, something I honestly can't remember, but it was enough. It was like enough to, I mean,
it was your reservation.
well, I mean, what if I got backache or something? I might need that stuff. And now I'm just like, Ed, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, you can't do this. And I flushed it down the toilet, and I deleted all my dealer's numbers out of my phone.
And this was at about around 100 days.
Yes. Yep. I was probably 100 days in, because I sat there and I'm like, dude, you can do this. Like, you've got this. You've got no excuses. I got a clean bill of health. You know, I got a job. I got an apartment. Like, why would I? And I was really trying. This was like the first time I
Ever
really,
gave
really
it.
tried. When I was sober for 18 months and I was in college, I didn't really go to AA meetings. I just sort of did the minimum. I was doing great in school, but I was gambling at the casino just about every night. And I don't do that anymore, you know. And I always had, they talk about it in the book. There's not the types of drinkers, but it's in,
They talk about 3 different, I think it's on page
that
60.
the disease goes away.
Yep.
They think that the disease will go away, that eventually, because I'm 21, I was sober on my 21st birthday, that someday, after a period of sobriety,
Yep.
I would have gained enough knowledge that I could drink like a normal person again. And that's what I was thinking, right?
Yeah.
And it turned out to be like not true. Like, they talk about it in the book. So, but this time I kind of knew that I wouldn't be able to do it again. But that's also a very absolute thing to think about in early sobriety that I don't recommend. That's where the day at a time is very important.
And I see
And-
where you correlated that in with what you said way at the beginning. I know I'm taking a left-hand turn here on our conversation, because we haven't brought nothing up about higher power, spirituality, or God.
Yeah.
But with what you just said, like around 100 days, you had this spiritual awakening, or what would?
Not yet.
Okay,
Not yet.
good,
Yeah.
because this is a big part of the show. Like
Yeah.
I've spent entire shows talking about people's spiritual awakening or
Yeah.
their spiritual experiences.
It's important.
What do you call that moment at 100 days where you realize, like, dude, you're doing this. You can do this. 86 that shit and get rid of these dealer
I mean,
numbers.
that was probably part of it, because they talk about it in the book, Herbert Spencer, the educational variety,
Yeah.
in the appendix, and that was me for sure. And I think that was part of it. But okay, so I finally, like, that was part of the corner I turned. And then I'm going to all these meetings. This is the part of recovery. This is what I don't tell people, that when I go to meetings, I'm like not completely transparent about it. But I mean, I was probably in going into the rooms for like a year before I did the steps. And there was Ron knows him, this guy DJ.
I've heard so many stories about DJ.
DJ, yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, DJ was my sponsor.
Oh.
And this guy was very rough around the edges.
Oh, I've heard so many stories.
Yeah.
I hate this.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
And so DJ, at the time, he had a mohawk. He did have a motorcycle. And this guy, I mean, he was freaking ugly. He's just ugly, and he had a real raspy voice. He had throat cancer, and he he would just sort of prance around the meeting. And
Someone explained this. I think it was Paris, or no,
yeah, I know
Joey, or one of those 3 guys,
Yeah.
or Ron. And they said, "Here's DJ. You've heard people say beast mode. He's a beast.
he was a thumper.
And he looked it, and he was it. That's beast mode of AA.
He was.
It always stuck with me.
Right. And that's the thing too. I think that at the time he had like a couple years of sobriety, and I think people that are in, I would say, earlier sobriety, 2, 3, 4 years, they have the most energy in recovery, and they're on this like recovery high, and they're able to just do a lot of good. And I was like that too. And so DJ, he was basically harassing me every time I go to the meeting. He's like, "Eddie, you get a sponsor yet?" And I'm just like, "No, dude, I'm good." And so I kept going to these meetings, but here's the deal. I'm going there. It's a step meeting. They're talking about this step, and we get in small groups and we talk about the step. And there is a first step meeting, so you could pass and do the first step meeting, which a lot of people that were fresh in there would do.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I'm like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? And it was a combination of that And then me having that period of sobriety before where I went back out and realizing that maybe there was a chance I didn't have this licked. And the third
Oh.
thing was after that, let's say a year, my brain was really clearing up and I started to realize that like there was work to do because I was like, I'm kind of freaking nuts. I'm nuts. And I don't know how to deal. I don't really know how to deal with things. So like it was this antsiness or whatever it was. And then finally I was like, okay, DJ, let's do it. So
DJ had a favorite word.
I'm trying to remember what his favorite.
Paul M said
he would say. He said he said it's not odd, it's God. He said that, or I'd always feel sorry for myself. He's like, "What do you want? Some cake?"
Yeah, Paul, I don't. It sucks. Everyone, their whole name comes through, but I
Yeah,
careful about saying Paul M.
What'd he say?
You just said DJ had a favorite word.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know, inside joke, whatever. But so
I wish I knew what that was because I'm
so
sure
what
I
is
heard it.
his favorite word, Paul? Put it out there. Oh, here we go. Started with F. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
half the people in recovery. Right?
Yeah. All right. So
DJ.
DJ's like, come on. I'm good at it.
So this is actually a good test. So when people ask me, DJ had me write some stuff in the front of my book, and one is, if it's not in the book, it's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's written in the front of my book. And the other, he asked me a couple other questions, but one was, when I finally told him I like, let's do this. He's like, okay, you willing to go to any lengths? And I asked that to my sponsees. And when people ask me to sponsor them, this is like, I put this in my Facebook group, and you had all these people, I go in there to troll a little bit, and people get triggered, man. And I was just like, I'm like, okay, well, you know what? This is kind of a lie. I'll be like, even though I am pretty busy. Well, look, I'm kind of booked up right now. So we can do this, but you got to meet me at my house at 6 a.m. on Tuesday. Are you okay with that? And I'll say it in a straight ass face. And then you can look at them, right? And you're this is a test.
Right.
I'm fucking with it's a test.
But they don't know.
They don't know. And it's okay. Like a lot of times, like they always struggle. They always struggle with it. But if there's 2 seconds, it's like, how quick do they yield to realize like what they just said to me? And
about
like,
what length? Yeah.
I mean, you know what? You can get there like at 6 years. I mean, like, do you want to get sober? If you really want to get
You'll do
sober,
it.
that's fucking nothing.
Right.
Like, sure, I'm there.
If I told you I had the best heroin and I can get it for the Lolo at
Right.
5:30 a.m. on only Wednesdays,
Yeah.
you'd be there 5:28.
Absolutely.
I get it.
Absolutely.
My sponsor had me write something very similar in my book too.
Yeah.
Ron.
So the thing is, DJ really did have me meet him at 6 a.m.
He did.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing for work at the time, but I'd go there and I'm freaking nodding off. I'm so tired, and we're reading the book together. But with DJ and the way that we go through the book, there's this study in action, and it was Dick and Mary was the one who they started doing it. All of this is online. It's recorded.
Yeah.
You can listen to it,
Mhm.
and it's incredible. It's like a deep dive into the big book. It's unreal how much is in there when you have someone else explaining it to you, because it's written in it's the language. It's written 100 years ago.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
it's still it plays true today.
I know.
I mean,
I know.
Ron put me on that too.
Yeah.
And they did Code Blue, I think it was, or Into Action, Code Blue or something.
Into action.
Yeah, and-
into action. Yep.
And yeah, them,
It's like intoactionaa.org or something
Yep.
like that. And so we got there, we're reading through it, and I guess leading up to that, I'm going to those meetings and I'm like, I felt like off. And I'm in these small groups, I'm not able to really share. This is what I think a 4th step would be like if I was to do it, right?
if you were to do it.
If I
Okay.
was to do it.
So just a notion of it. Okay.
So I end up getting through these steps, and I remember doing my I met him. I was there every week. We met every week. We got through the 4th step, and You know, I was probably like 6 weeks in, 7 weeks, and I went home and I did 6 and 7 like it says in the book after the 5th step, and I just felt different. And I you know, I know not everyone has this experience, but it's sort of like explaining someone what LSD is like if you've never done it.
It's a great analogy.
You know, it's
It is.
like you just don't know until you've done it. And you know, I was definitely different after
Mhm.
that. And for me, you know, I'm not as tough as DJ was, but that's what I needed. And you know, for me, what I learned from DJ especially is when new people ask me to sponsor them, like I'm nice to them and everything like that, but the way I approach it is every freaking word out of their mouth is a lie.
Right.
And you know, 9 times out of 10 it is.
Yeah.
And one of my sponsees told me the other day, because I told him this in early recovery, he remembered it. Some of the shit I say, I don't even remember saying it.
You're
I'm
like, I said
damn,
that?
was good. And he's like, he said, Eddie, we had just started working together. He was supposed to text me like every other day, and he never did. Or he was supposed to call me, and he never did. And he's like, yeah, you know, well, I was kind of busy with work, and it's the same BS
Right.
every time. And I'm like, dude, why is your gut instinct just to lie? And he like thought about it, and it's like, there's no reason why you couldn't have shot me a text message if it was your dealer or whatever, you know? So it's like, really, you just didn't care, because that's really what it boiled down to.
And we don't want to hear that. And we don't want to hear it because we know it's the truth.
Right. I know. Dude, I read these fuckers, you know? Yeah. So it's you see it once you've been doing it a long time. It's the same thing over and over and over again.
Yep.
So anyways, I got through the steps, and that was sort of like you talked about the spiritual awakening. It was really after in the ninth.
Was it after your doing your 5th step, or what was it?
Yeah, I would say that, and then getting through 9. And I mean, some of those amends were really tough. And I wrote my amends to people long form on a piece of paper. And it was very important that I hit that 4th column of my part.
Yep.
And I explained to them what my part is. And I literally would read it sitting there next to them,
up. Yep.
because I knew that I couldn't articulate, because I was too nervous. And unless it's written down, I'll skip some shit.
And if it makes it to that point of your life and your men's time, and it's on that 4th step, word for word is your bet. For me, yeah, I'd skip over it, or there'd be something left out, or I'd want to go back to it.
Right.
That's a good.
Yeah. Right. I write it down. I write them down, and I'm like, hey, if you have some time, this is important. I need to read this to you.
Right.
And then I read it, and then I say in there, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it right. And
Yeah.
that's just how I've done it. You know, I haven't done one in a long time. I think I've made all the amends that I can. My step 9 amends, but
Alcoholics lie when the truth works better.
I think they just lie, period. And like, there was this guy in the meeting. So you talked about, has it ever not benefited me when I met with a sponsee? Well, this motherfucker stood me up. Like, I went there. He's like, you know, I love what you had to say. And
Yeah, he got you all the way to the meeting spot.
So it's funny too. So I go there, and he, so this, I'll tell you, and I'm not mentioning his name. So check this out. Like, dude, I could read the text message to you. It's incredible. He said, he's like, oh, you know what? My car won't start. That was his excuse. I'm like, dude, that's the best fucking thing you can come up with. So then I was like, you know what?
Did you say that? That's the best thing you can come up with?
No. But that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
So then he's like, my mom's coming to give me a jump. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. I can come to you right now. I'll give you a jump.
Yeah.
I can come give you a jump right now. Crickets for like 15 minutes. And we're supposed to meet in like 45 minutes. All of a sudden he texts me. He's like, well, what do you know? I found my jump pack. Like, dude,
Imagine that.
yeah, right, exactly. So, anyways,
Accountability is a motherfucker.
the
sometimes.
point is, you know, and I think DJ had taught me that it's about the effort, not the outcome. Right. And that's all. Like I kept my side of the street clean. I was there for him. And I know that, you know, my heart is in the right place. And
Your side of the street.
yeah, that's it. So, you know, but so here's where it gets tricky in recovery. So I go there, I'm sitting there, and now I haven't reached out to him. Okay. So am I being of maximum service? So he knows my number. He knows how to reach out to me. Should I say, hey, look, dude, no hard feelings. I'm here if you need help. And no, just let me know. But I didn't do that. So that's like this part of
Kinda
recovery,
torn, yeah.
you know, and I've thought about it too. So maybe tomorrow I'll text him. And I've done that to people. I'll randomly text them and just see. And a lot of times I don't really get a response. The thing is, the odds are not in this guy's favor to stay sober. So, but the thing is if he doesn't really want it, like, dude, it was the night before he asked me at the meeting to sponsor him. I was like, yep, let's meet up in the morning. And it wasn't, I mean, we were meeting at 10 o'clock. So
that's not no DJ 6 a.m. shit.
Like 10 minutes from his house.
Yeah, it's
So
action. It's a program of action.
Yeah.
And like, you're responsible for your side of the street.
right.
I mean, people talk about maximum effort with this, that, and the third, but you did your side of the street. That's did you drink that day?
Mm-mm.
You know, that's the go-to always for me.
Didn't even cross my mind.
So looking back on 18 years, what's been the what has been the biggest highlight that you would share about to someone in these rooms if they said, what's been the best part of your last 18 years?
Yeah, there's been really good stuff. I would say my wedding day, my wife will probably love to hear that. It's true. Like I was in some long-term relationships in recovery, and I met my wife, and I learned from each of those relationships. And by no means I'm not perfect, you know, but this wedding,
I think you might be.
yeah,
I think you might be. No, all right. So
yeah, what was the guy? I'm definitely not, because when you were asking those guys if you had a superpower, what would it be? And I was thinking, I want to make some fucking money.
I was wondering. Like,
that would be my superpower.
right. Print
I could,
money.
yeah,
Print
make
or-
money. So, but like my wedding day, everyone flew in from out of state because I have no relatives here in
Oh, yeah, you-
Minnesota. Yep. And,
What'd you Vermont or what'd you say?
Virginia.
Virginia.
Yep.
It was a V.
Close.
V.
And everyone was there for us, and it was a really special.
You were able to
day.
be present, be in it,
Yes.
that type of stuff. So you, not to trudge up anything, but you said you'd been in long-term relationships prior to this
Yes.
marriage, and
Yep.
they're in recovery.
One was, one wasn't. Yeah, and my
And-
wife is just a normal Earth person.
And normally,
she
a
doesn't.
normal
Yeah, she doesn't drink, but it's just because she doesn't like to
doesn't.
drink.
Yeah, but she could hand. Yeah, she's not one of us.
right. Yeah.
How long have you been married?
5 years.
5 years.
Yep.
Yeah. Hell
Is
yeah.
it 5-6 years now?
Oh boy. I didn't ask for how many days, so you're good.
We got married in 2019, so it'll be 6 years.
6
coming
years.
up,
If
yeah.
it was after March.
It's 6 years. It's five and a half years. We were
All
married.
right.
Yep.
That's awesome. So when I brought up spiritual awakening, spiritual experiences, you would say, because I remember Ron shared something about, I only bring it up because you know him, so I can say his name, it makes sense. But
Yep.
when my sponsor shared something about doing a fifth step, and I remember, I don't know if it was him, he said he experienced it, or I know it's in the book about being able to look someone in the eyes. It was something I was super excited about doing my fifth step and thinking, okay, I'll be able to start looking people in the eyes when I talk to them. Because I was a guy just, hey, Eddie, never looking people in their eyes
Right.
out of usually because my whole life, everything was a lie. And I didn't want to give away nothing,
Yep.
or I was conniving, scheme, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was so excited for this thing to happen where I could start. And it was mostly when I'd be at the podium. And that's like,
It's being comfortable in your own skin, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So for yourself, when would you say that and it's something we highlight? It's usually my top of the show question is about your spiritual experience and
Mhm.
take us through it. But you would say was that working it through your steps?
Yeah, 100%. Yep. And something about looking people in the eye too. And this is what I talk about, where people are at also in their ninth step. And the analogy I use, my wife and I, we always go to the state fair. And one year we got in a fight there, and she's like, I'm not fucking coming back here with you again. We still go. And I can't remember what it was, like what we were arguing about, something stupid. And the thing is, so at the fair, we play a game, and it's who can spot someone they know first. At the state fair, there's a lot of
Minnesota
people.
great get together.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
People like us usually win that though. Like if she's a normie, someone who's always in the well, go ahead, keep going.
I am
Keep going.
more extroverted than her, and I definitely I probably know more people than she does. But the point is, with all of this, I can go to the state fair, I can cross paths with anybody there, and I'm not gonna look away or need to walk
There's
away.
nothing to be worried about.
Exactly.
Someone you've wronged. Someone
It's cool. It's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So I blabbed us on we're over 2 hours now. But see, here's the difference.
I
Usually,
don't
like
think we are. We're at an hour and a half. Oh,
you and I get it. We've been live for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
And this is my first show of this format. Like I said, kind of rewinding way back to earlier while in between guests I started this show at 2218.
Okay.
Me and another guy. It was basically out of COVID. We started it, something to do.
Mhm.
That was it.
Mhm.
He mentioned podcasts. I thought Joe Rogan. I'm like, fame, ego, blah, blah, blah. And we scheduled guests. Every week we'd have 2 to 3 guests on. And I had a whole team, a producer, a co-host, a couple of assistants, an engineer, all this stuff. Well, over time, certain people went out. And I had this thing, if you're not excited for the show, don't be part of it. And some people are coming in, shit. It comes over on the air. But it was going good. And it came down to just me and one other person being part of the show. And it was a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
Me scheduling guests and all this crap. And I knew we'll work for recovery. I've been coming here when I went from Lodging Plus over to a New Way. And there was a flyer on the wall. I usually have them in here, but some hippie dude with a big handlebar mustache and some girl, that lady, were on the cover, said, we'll work for recovery. With this sign, like the people on the corners will
Right.
work for money. And I came here. It was the first time I walked into a place, neon lights and shit. Like I'd been going to all Alano clubs and, just a blonde wall with table and old curmudgeony dudes. So I walked into this place and I was like, I like this. Like this was where I first walked in and said, oh, you can have fun here. With exception, like my sponsor taking me to the races. And I knew doing the stuff he was doing at that time, it would have been too dangerous for me to do it alone.
Mhm.
It just would have been. But it was the first time I'd seen fun in these rooms, and maybe I was whatever. So that's why I moved the show over here. I knew I'd have more support and whatever. And this location, we just got here about 6 months ago. We were down the road. So I got to build this studio. I built this. Like there was nothing here. And the way everything changed was like I was telling you, at the other center was just all like you witnessed that first couple minutes, people coming and going, but
Sure.
there's no substance, there's
Right.
no sustenance to getting a conversation going. And typically you're dealing with guys like I was when I wanted to share my drug history. It's,
Yeah.
oh man, I had 15 years and the drugs and the guns, and no one wants to listen to that shit.
No,
Just no one in the World Wide Web.
I don't.
People don't.
Yeah.
And my viewership, I was averaging about 2,500 listeners a week, which is pretty good for
That's great.
Minnesota and
Yeah.
not really advertising too much. It went down to about 300 in 6 months.
Okay.
And the 300 were the people, hey, come watch what I said and whatever. And that falls on me. I play a part in all that too. Speaking of that, side note, I want to grab you something.
Yeah.
And this comes from a guy named Chuck Cohen. We've got this stuff called the Soap of Hope. All right.
Nice.
He's usually here right now. He's not here right now, but I'm really going off track here. I was just explaining the show. I'll finish this up real quick. Is move the show here. Tried a new format, and it was to get the people out in the world to hear. We wanted this party atmosphere to come over on air. Let the masses know, like, hey, we'll work for recoveries. A fun happening place, not home group material, more of a jumping off place, get involved, get connected. And it came through, but just audiences didn't want to hear about it. They weren't interested in it. Like we've already concluded, it was more of a something to do for people coming to meetings here, which it turned into, but that's not what I started. I mean, it's not what I wanted. And
Right.
but I gave it a shot.
The speaker meeting, the speaker, it's important, right? And to keep people's attention. So
And
we
we shared about that.
I don't.
We shared about that. Like,
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
and that's I don't know. Matter of fact, I think I've had Ron on twice, and shows like that where there's a good story. Like tonight, I'll get my analytics, and it shows. They'll show me certain viewers tuned out after this amount of time, or they stopped. Certain viewers listen. Like tonight, I can already tell by certain numbers that I'm seeing is the majority of the listeners we had tonight stayed on for over an hour at a time.
Nice.
Which, I mean, I can't, my attention span,
No,
squirrel.
that's longer.
I
than
mean, and
Yeah.
unless I'm on the job site listening to my headphones, I wouldn't sit down to listen to a show.
sure.
Not saying you guys shouldn't. But now that we built the studio, like I'm been able to get back to this format where I schedule guests.
Nice.
And I compromised that last Friday, whatever. So everyone listening to is Wednesdays, we have this studio. I'd like to have something 7 days a week in here. If we can come up with ideas, we got a couple girls that are doing a spirituality thing on Sundays eventually. Then we got a guy doing a Wednesday thing for the people that are at the meetings. So we also have a guy here. Now I'm moving on. His name is Chuck. He came to this place with a vision, and it was to make soap for the world, everyone. To make this soap, the soap of hope. And if he were here, he'd come hand this to you. He'd come in here and he'd hand this to you. But this is the soap. It's the I am that I am soap stone factory. It's homemade. You can show it on the little camera, whatever. You give it a smell. It's all natural. He prays into it, prays over it, prays about it. And you can he makes it. We have a factory upstairs. He makes this soap. And people are, how much is it? It's here for the taking.
It's awesome.
He'll take donations. The shit's not free to make, but the wife's you're gonna like it, dude. Everyone that gets it always comes back.
My wife is a chiropractor. She's a label reader. And if it's a soap that is made, that's sold in the store, like we're not using it. So this is legit. It's like
I'm curious about the feedback on this then.
Oh, she'll use this.
Yeah. I'm curious about the
It's
feedback.
olive oil, coconut oil, so a couple of oils,
Yeah.
water, lye, cinnamon, oatmeal, and love.
I'm telling you, and everyone who I'd say, what is it, recidivism? No, I'm trying to use big words when I don't know what they mean, and I should not ever do that.
What's the word?
I don't know. But the repeat on these is people that get them, we keep running out.
Right.
That's all I use now is that soap. And it's just give it a shot. Let us know the feedback. But Chuck, with love.
Are we gonna wrap things up?
Yeah, we're getting there.
So let me just say one thing. This was the thing I would close with, and I think this was the lying part that I was talking about.
Come on.
So the lying part was everyone has to get, and their recovery journey is different. And there was a point when I was willing to go to treatment and get sober. And then there was a point at which I was willing to do the steps. And, I didn't really want to do it. It seemed cultish, and, it was something that I didn't really need to do. And I had that period. I was about a year sober. And so everyone has to get to that point at their own speed. But if anything, I regret not doing it sooner. And the thing is that I learned you know, in that study in action and from my sponsor is that there's the fellowship and then there's the program. And people say that they're in the program, which is, it's kind of like, I view it as a misinformation. People can say whatever the hell they want, but I'm really in the fellowship. I work the program,
Yep.
you know, and it's not a program.
It's the
It's
program.
the program.
It's not your program. It's the program.
And I had this period of sobriety, but I didn't really, my life didn't change. It did change before I did the steps. So if I said it didn't, that's a lie. But my life got so much better. I actually learned how to live my life, right? And I did it by working the steps with my sponsor. So the reason I don't say that it took me like a year for me to get to that point is because I kind of regret doing that. And when I say things, I don't want newcomers to think it took him a year and he's fine. I'm going to give it a little time.
I see what you're saying.
So that was the thing, is like, I just try and be selective about what I say. So I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm just saying I have a little bit of a regret that I didn't do it sooner.
Yeah, and this is your story.
Yeah,
Like-
because I mean it was life changing.
Yeah.
And I
You
use it-
you know
use
what?
it every
Why do
day.
you tie this in? You keep what brought you back to this was saying we're talking about lying.
Yeah.
Why does this make you think? I'm not following where the line comes in.
Because there isn't really, there's lying by omission and commission. So the part of my story that I usually omit is that I had a period of, you know, a year. It might have even been 15 months. I can't remember exactly before.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Forget.
Right.
Don't.
So
Then my question don't.
really, if I could do it over, I would have got a sponsor right after
Yeah.
getting out of treatment
Yeah.
and started doing the steps. Because, and that's the other thing, is the way that my sponsor showed me and the way that we do it is it's relatively fast, that we get through the steps in like 90 to 100 days.
No.
And the goal is to get someone sponsoring right away.
Yeah.
There's no sobriety requirement. It's just that they really, there's no requirement at
No.
all. So technically a person with a day could sponsor someone that has 2 days, but you know, how much value can they be for at least being a step coach?
Can I draw you a map to somewhere I haven't been yet?
Exactly. But you can help. You can
help.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, you
but
can
you
help.
can help. But
Yeah.
you probably couldn't really tell me.
I
how
think
to
you
do
hit
a
on the head
four-step.
too with what DJ said too. Is if
Yeah.
it's not in the book,
If it ain't in the book,
it's an
it's
opinion.
just my opinion.
Yeah, and opinions can kill some people.
Mhm.
They just can. I unfortunately, like, it happens.
So that was the only thing
Yeah.
the last thing I was trying to say. So
I do give you a spot and say, like, hey, if there's anything we didn't touch on, would you like to?
I think that was it.
I'm also good at being kind of a facetious asshole at times. And I
Yeah.
hope I didn't come off that way, because this is the part where
Not
I'm
at
gonna be
all.
like, hey, I know we did go over some stuff, but like, I jump around, I cut people off. Like, that's
I
the
love
show.
that. Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit, but like my meetings, I like that you brought up about speaker meetings and I share this at Fairview. When I left there, I had a meeting list. Monday, I
Mhm.
did this. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'd go to SNL. That was my night to relax
Nice.
and listen to someone.
Fun. Yeah.
I just didn't have to be
Tons of people
involved.
there.
Yeah. Yep.
Something to do.
And like, that's what, to me, this is my Friday night speaker meeting, but I get to interrupt and
Yeah.
engage. Like,
Yeah.
plus questions come in.
This
And you
is-
know what?
this is your show, Tim.
It's the show. It's the recovery community show. People that posted certain questions, I'm sorry I didn't get to all of them.
We could do a speed round.
I guess we could rip back, and I know I have. The problem with my phone is I do have my number going, because a lot of people direct message me because they don't want their name on here. But now that I'm doing this whole TikTok thing,
Mm.
I got to be with the times, but I can't. I've seen like 5 or 6. Just, I'm sorry if I didn't get to your questions tonight. But before I do some final wrap up stuff, we still have some of the out of the blue stuff. He's a big deal, Eddie. He's a big deal, Eddie. You got a lot of hey man, and then I don't know, Christy Jones. I mean, I'll talk a little bit more about the soap before it's over.
Okay.
But come on down 4206 North Washington. Every night, 7 p.m. we're open. Wednesdays we're open at 5. We have a men's meeting and a women's meeting. There's something called Solutions on 2nd Street. Used to be over at the Sahara Club. Now it's here at 6:30 a.m. every morning. Very structured recovery meeting. Come on down. There's information about the soap. Chuck's always making more soap. So, Eddie, name of the show is Attitude for Gratitude. Tell the audience about your gratitude today.
My gratitude. Last plug.
Yeah.
The Sinking Ship.
Yeah.
The Sinking Ship is Friday nights at 7, 35th and Aldrich. If you want to come see me, it's men and women, and it's an open meeting, so anyone can come. It's solid.
I did post to
Yeah.
3 of the YouTube pages and all the Facebook pages. 35th and Aldrich, The Sinking Ship, 7 p.m.
Friday.
Friday nights.
That's all there is to know.
Yep. It's an open
And
meeting.
it's an hour, so it's not
It's
like
not
a
like this.
long ass meeting.
It's Alcoholics Anonymous?
It is AA.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
So, what am I grateful for? I'm actually grateful to be here, Tim. It's grateful. I'm grateful to, I'm really grateful for my sobriety. I'm grateful for, all my experiences. I'm trying to think what else. I live a pretty comfortable life now, and it's pretty enjoyable, and it's not perfect. But to just be able to wake up, and in early sobriety, I remembered this too. Like, how the frick did I get here? Like, I woke up sober, and I'm in my apartment, and I'm just kind of pinching myself. Like, I can't believe it. So that's what I'm grateful to wake up every day. And, they talk about the power of choice being taken away in the book. And I have that choice
Right.
today.
Choice.
So that's what I would say. My life's pretty good. So there's a lot to be grateful for.
Last week or the week before, 2 weeks ago, we had a girl named Raina,
Mm-hmm.
and she shared a pretty horrific her past, her story, and something that really the big thing. And I've had multiple people talk to me in the last 2 weeks about this, like choice. She walked out of prison, and her stepdad was there to pick her up, or what ultimately became a trafficker was there in a limo. She didn't know at the time, and her dad told her, listen, in life, the one thing you own is the choice. You have choice today. What's your choice? I don't know. It was pretty powerful with the story she was telling. She chose wrong, like us alcoholics and
I
addicts
usually do.
tend to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Usually, whatever I think is right, do the opposite,
Do the
and
opposite.
it works out. It's so true.
all right.
It's gotten better over the years.
Well, yeah. Of course, I imagine 67.
67.
All right, here we go. 67. You can have anyone fictitious as your imaginary friend. Who do you choose, alive or dead?
Damn.
That is a good choice.
Anyone is my imaginary
Yep.
friend. So I'm like thinking, well, damn.
alive or
Yeah.
dead.
You know what? Let me think here. Alive or dead? Dude, this is such a vague, open-ended question. My
And it's your buddy.
yeah, well, I mean, my gut instantly went to Jerry Garcia.
Oh,
freaking
9.5.
Yeah, I
Which
love.
wet finger? It's one of them.
Yeah, but
Garcia.
there's probably some other better things out
I thought you were
there.
gonna say Jesus right
Bill
away.
W, right?
Bill W.
Bill W. I've heard some stories about Bill W. Not all of them are good.
No.
Yeah.
No. He's
maybe-
almost like he was one of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So
Well, then I want another question.
sure.
Another number.
All right. Let's go 55.
55. What's the best piece of advice you'd ever been given? That's damn, you're picking good numbers.
Yeah. The best piece of advice I've ever given. Damn.
You know, that should be what's the best piece of advice you remember being given that was good?
Yeah. You know, I don't know, I get fixated on things and just kind of just relax. And like if it's something that I want or whatever, there's always another option. You know, it doesn't have to be the be all and end all or whatever.
Patience.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's it.
Patience.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie, I appreciate you big time.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks,
for
Tim.
giving me time. Thanks for bearing with me on this whole new journey of this kind of a shit show at the beginning. I do apologize. I didn't know how that was. I'm going to be honest with you.
You haven't done this format?
No, not like this. It's the
Mm.
first time, and I felt kind of like an ass about it because I felt I was kind of doing you dirty
Mm.
just for the simple fact that I hadn't done this and I wasn't sure I was going to work.
Did it work?
What if there's 650 people the first time ever? All of a sudden, I got 30, 40 people waiting to come in. Like that's been the idea, and I've been telling Paul like no one's showing up for this free for all tonight. If you weren't here, show would have been over in 25 minutes. I could have went longer with some of them.
Right.
I'd have liked that second kid, the two that came in, where it was his first time here.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to really talk to him a little bit more. He was so energetic and excited, but that format, you're counting on people. No one's scheduled to be here. So it's up to a group of people that just showed up to, I don't know. It's a weird format. I'm not used to that. And I felt I put you in a position without you knowing. I was kind of sweating it. Like, fuck, that's why your message was so long. And I was overdrawn. Like, you can show up at 8 if you want, or 8:30.
It's all good, man. You're trying something new. You know what?
At,
We're all learning.
at the hest of you or at your expense. So I appreciate you big time. Serious. I'm glad they misscheduled us at Fairview.
Yeah.
Paths would never
Absolutely.
crossed. If
Small
not,
world. I mean,
Ron,
I'm
and that whole-
surprised. I'm surprised I hadn't had your number or talked to you more.
I
or
think
anything.
have you not gone to any around the 4th of July parties or the card any of the every
think
4th
so.
of July has the biggest shindig.
I know that.
You better come
I'll
on.
stop by. Yeah, I'm gonna crash your party, Ron.
Yeah. Damn it.
He buys a lot of fireworks from Wisconsin.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
I mean, what are we all pyros?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
I used to love burning shit.
But you seen on like you're on Facebook, so
Yeah.
I want to be on that group you've started. But I can bomb your group now.
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
invites.
You should.
But have you seen the pictures he posted of the fireworks? Like he always puts it on Facebook, or I always do. I don't know.
I'm not on there a ton. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm on Twitter. I don't know. It's not healthy, man.
I
should
know.
delete
No,
it.
I noticed that in
Yeah.
a lot of this social media. It's my co-sign
It's
for
called
being on it for this
X.
show. Yeah, X. It
X.
works. All right, we're gonna wrap her down. Again, Eddie, I'm grateful for you. Thank you for coming
Thanks,
on.
Tim. Appreciate
getting
it.
a little vulnerable, sharing some things that might not be the easiest to share.
That's all
one
good.
person. That's all I really care about. You had a lot of people supporting on you tonight. I
Nice.
appreciate that too. I put up some hotlines tonight. There was some talk of self-harm from some of the guests. So if anyone's struggling with that tonight or dealing with that, please reach out and utilize those phone numbers. You are worth it. Like you've heard multiple people come on, then you heard Eddie sharing. It's possible. It's here for the taking. There is a solution. If you are struggling, please reach out. Come on down to the center. The Sinking Ship, Friday nights, 35th. Address one more time.
It's 35th in Aldrich, South
35th,
Minneapolis.
yep.
It's like 35th in Lindale, but you Google Sinking Ship, it'll come up.
There you go. Every
Mhm.
Friday night, it's an open meeting. Told you about the meetings here. I brought up my men's meeting at New Hope, Allano. You heard Ray talk about Fridley, Allano. We brought up 2218. We talked, Eddie brought up too, there's tons and tons of meetings in the Twin Cities and the outer
Tons.
tons.
There's an app. There's a meeting guide.
Meeting guy, and there's the little win and wear books. There's just, if you're struggling, please reach out. You're worth this life
Yep.
you hear us talk about. If no one's told you today, like, hey, I love you. You're loved. You're worth it. Please be
And-
here. Stick around.
One meeting is not an accurate, cross section of AA. Because if you go to New York City, it's like, oh, I've been to America. I've been to the USA.
no.
Well, then there's nothing else that's like New York City. So it's really trying different things.
That's a great analogy.
It's like New York City and Phoenix, Arizona, like couldn't be any more different. And that's what meetings are like. They're just all over
100%.
the place.
Find-
all over
keep
the place.
going till you find the one that suits you. It's like a
Mhm.
good pair of pants. Find the ones that fit you right, because it's out there. It's here for the taking. We'll work for recovery. We got a lot of stuff happening. Summer's coming. We got rides set up. We got the spring fling down at Boom Park coming up. Pig roasts, fun, all that stuff. We got Gopher States coming up here. Gosh, I got to remember to keep talking about this. The 50-year anniversary, May 23rd to the 25th.
Sick.
That's going to be amazing.
Gopher State is awesome.
Yes,
Go.
it is. Also, Minac in 2 weeks. It's coming up too. So until next week, we love you. I believe next week I've got a powerhouse coming on a show. It's a woman who started her own 501c workout. You know what? Let me confirm it before I start advertising her.
She ain't gonna be better than me, Tim.
No, this will be the best probably show I've ever had. All right, we love you guys.
hear that?
Until next week, tune in. Wait, what do I say? Hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button, the star button, the bop, bop, bop. I don't know, just whatever. If it helped, awesome. If not, tune back in next week. It will. Love you. Bye.